One. All right. Hey, we are live. How's it going, everybody? This is the Rookie Corner. Today I've got a couple people with me today. Keeping it a little smaller today. Yesterday it got a little too big. So we got Mr. Pete's channel with me today. Got Darth Tico. Yep. Darth Tico and our guest, the ft.SuperDivorce. Black Angus will be joining us in a little bit. But for now, why don't you tell us a little bit about your channel, ft.SuperDivorce?
Okay. Well, thanks for having me, first of all. Hello, everyone. I am Nicholas Villars from ft.SuperDivorce, one half of the synth pop duo. We're a synth pop group. Started out on our channel just posting our music and some videos here and there. And then I started following Ethan Van Sciver's channel earlier this year, doing a lot of home renovation. I was listening to his live streams constantly, and I've been a big fan of his for a long time. So seeing how his channel grew, I was kind of inspired to just start doing live videos every day. And at that point, I didn't know where the channel was going to go, what kind of stuff we were going to eventually do. I just started going live for like 5 or 10 minutes every day and kind of showing the progress I was making on my house as I was redoing all the floors on our downstairs. And then over time, it just naturally kind of evolved into us posting more videos about the stuff we're interested in. We have dabbled previously in doing like a little bit of comic book reviews and some horror movie reviews and such. But really, since I think early June, I've done like at least one live video every single day, with the exception of just one day I think I've missed. So over time, it's just kind of morphed into a channel where, you know, outside of the music.
Oh, you cut out.
Oh boy. Oh well.
Content, you know. Oh. So I feel like it's just it's a little better than being a band releasing an album, going silent for 2 years, and then coming back and being like, "Hey guys, remember us? We've got some new music for you." I just want a little bit deeper connection with the people who like our stuff. So that's kind of the inspiration behind it.
I think that's awesome, man.
Yeah, well,
where do you see your channel going in the future? Like, do you have any future goals for it right now?
Just to continue steadily building up a community, you know. Being here, I'm probably into a lot of the same things that everyone else listening to this channel is into. You know, we're big Star Wars fans. My partner in crime, Bender, he's not here right now, but he is a huge horror movie buff. He's into all sorts of horror movies. He actually has his own channel called Monday Momster Movies, where he reviews horror movies with his mom, who does not really like horror movies very much.
A funny dynamic.
Yeah. So they've got their own little thing going on. And, you know, like I said, I just want to continue building a community around our music, and also connecting with our fans in a way where it's not just confined to ft.SuperDivorce, where we can connect with people who like the same sort of stuff that we're into as well.
Hell yeah, man. I like it.
Yeah.
You guys have any questions for him?
You do synth pop music.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you use? I'm sorry, I haven't watched any of your music videos. Do you use any vocals, or like does somebody sing for you, or do you use auto tune, or is it strictly instrumental?
No. There's I mean, we don't really use auto tune very much. We did use some effects on the newest album. I am kind of the main vocalist. Bender, he does background stuff. He kind of his vocals might remind you a little bit of a mix between Talking Heads and B-52s. He does like stuff in the background, kind of like that, more shouty. And then, you know, my vocals, I would say, take inspiration from Depeche Mode and Tears for Fears and things kind of like in that realm. We actually started out as a 4-piece kind of like post-hardcore band. So it's quite a jump from where we began, but we lost 2 members. We lost our main songwriter, guitar player, and then also our bass player. And so it was just me, a vocalist, and Bender, who was the drummer. And we're like, well, we don't want to quit. What are we going to do? It's like, well, we both love 80s music, so let's write a synth pop album. And that's what we did. And kind of that's kind of the direction that we've taken things, and we're just owning that now. So
interesting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Sounds like
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you're going into some Star Wars content a little bit, right?
Yeah. One of the main components of our channel, I'd say for the past maybe 4 months or so, has been this program that I'm actually doing with my friend. I call him my good brother, Andrew. We're doing a program called Sequential Star Wars, where we are trying to review the entire Star Wars saga in sequential chronological order. Like every piece of canon material, we're trying to start at the beginning and move forward through the timeline. So we've had to go back in and plug in some episodes, just because we didn't have access to them, to the material when we first started. Originally, I think we were just going to do the movies, and then we're like, well, I guess we should do Clone Wars too. And then it was like, well, why don't we just do the graphic novels and the novels also, and silly things like Forces of Destiny. And it's been pretty fun. We went into it in sort of an interesting way, where we're trying not to talk about things that haven't happened yet as we're reviewing episodes. So we're trying to sort of take the Star Wars universe at face value and just build it as the timeline goes along and review it in that context. So it's been pretty fun.
Sorry. That's a huge task. I mean, that's going to probably take you years.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I think we're up to almost episode 90 now.
Oh wow.
But yeah, it's pretty wacky to read, and find out some of the stuff that's actually canon. Like the very first piece of canon material is this short story from an anthology book, and it takes place in a kitchen in Maz Kanata's castle. That's the very first piece of canon material, for some reason. I don't know why, but that's what they've chosen. So,
are you doing only Disney Star Wars canon, or are you doing Lucas or George Lucas?
Yeah,
canon?
We're doing the current canon, unfortunately. I'd like to go back. I'd like to go back and do the old extended universe sometime. That'd be fun. But that's a
lot more material.
There
might
is,
as well stick with what you can do before they have 50 Disney movies. So.
Right.
And keep in mind the EU is always it's always contradicting itself. It's like different, like like some things are like, like they say like this guy had this Jedi had one story will say like this Jedi had a male master, while the other story will mention that he had a female. It's not 100%. It's like sometimes it goes all over the place. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I've heard the old EU didn't really have as much oversight, I guess, as what they do now, which possibly might be one advantage to having things buttoned up so tightly these days, is maybe a more consistent timeline. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be better in terms of storytelling.
Yeah, well, Disney is starting to they are starting to let a few things slip. For instance, the ATDP, the all-terrain defense pod walker, which was seen in Star Wars Rebels. It was supposed to be like a more recent, like it came out just before the Galactic Civil War. But now if you read like the Star Wars comics, I'm not gonna give away the story, but one of the Vader issues, you see like the ATDPs, and it's only like 1 year after the events of Revenge of the Sith. So yeah, Disney is starting to let things slide a bit, but nowhere near as bad as Lucas was.
Right.
Correct. Yeah. So here, since basically all three of you are technically new here. I mean, Mr. Pete, you're more known in the community around here, I'd say. Too,
yeah, I'm a Star Wars lurker. If anybody's doing anything Star Wars, you'll probably see me.
True, but I think since I don't have my main cast here today, usually Angus or Sith or Flip or somebody, we can introduce you guys a little bit, and you guys can tell us a little bit about yourselves. So Tico, since Darth Tico, or I don't know how you want to be called on here, just as Tico or Darth Tico or something else. But you can tell us a little bit. You can tell us a little bit about yourself or about your channel or what you want to do in the future.
Yeah, so I'm pretty busy right now, so I'm hoping to start my own YouTube channel where I'll be talking about Star Wars and stuff. I actually planned on, instead of doing a Last Jedi review, I actually will be going to Celebration in 2019 with Geoff and Ethan and all them. And I might actually just film myself doing that and talking to other Star Wars fans and asking them questions about what they think of the trilogy and how it's going so far. And also might try to get myself into a Q&A and ask maybe Kathleen Kennedy or Ryan Johnson or maybe even J.J. Abrams some questions on what the hell is going on.
Well, that'd be cool if you could do that. But I think they'd have filtered people or a filtered audience in a way for Kathleen Kennedy and them.
We shall see.
Don't you think? But
when we get there, yeah. My philosophy is for this is that I might get kicked out. I'm not going to try to, but I might.
You're gonna raise a little hell, eh?
Princess.
Me and my best friend since the 7th grade are going. So
hell yeah.
me and him are both unhappy with it. And I just want to ask questions why Disney treats the fans the way they do, the things they say to us, why they've destroyed things in the canon when they first acquired it, and they're kind of cherry picking from it now. So, I want to ask questions like that, but, I'm not a YouTuber, but I would like to be and get into the Star Wars YouTube, craziness that is going on right now. But,
right.
Until I'm finished with school.
Right. Well, how would you want to approach being a Star Wars channel? Because as you can tell, there's at least hundreds, but at most millions. You have Star Wars channels, and it's hard to stand out above the others, other than without retreading similar topics. How would you want to approach being a Star Wars channel?
So my approach to it would be somewhat approaching it as say the things my girlfriend doesn't want me to say to her about Star Wars, because she's pretty sick of it. Because I'm a diehard fan. I've been a fan ever since I was a kid. And, she's just getting bored of hearing me talk about all the crap that's going on. And,
Yeah, she's like, quit bitching. No.
Yeah, she's pretty done with it. But, it's kind of if I create a YouTube channel, it's going to be more of just yelling into the void with my opinion and seeing if people like it. That's the way I would approach it.
Okay, not bad, not bad. And so Mr. Pete, why don't you tell us a little bit about you, about your stuff?
Yeah, yes. I'll mention a little bit about myself and my YouTube channel. About myself, I am from New Jersey. I am in my 30s, and here's a Black Angus. Hey, Black Angus.
Always running late.
I'm just going to introduce myself, and then Black Angus, you can.
He doesn't need to introduce himself. He doesn't need to introduce himself. He's been on every episode. He's fine.
Let me just say this: when I first saw Black Angus's name, I didn't think of race. What I thought he was. This is before I talked to him and all that. Before I knew what he was. Yeah. I thought, this guy must be like a black metal AC/DC tribute band. Like I thought, this guy's probably in a band and they play like AC/DC songs, but like much darker, more hardcore. That's what I thought. Like that was the name of his band. I didn't realize. I didn't associate it with race. I associated it with a genre of metal music.
I assumed it was you were a big fan of the Steakhouse. That's what I assumed.
Like Angus. Angus meat. Okay, all right. All right. A little bit about myself and my channel. Well, I've been on YouTube for well over 6 years now, but I've only been doing content for about a year and a half. Now, originally, I decided, I'm just going to be another Star Wars channel, but as the weeks and months went on, I started doing other things. I call my channel a channel, not a show, because I have a couple of different. I can best describe myself as a variety channel with a little bit of humor. I have a music playlist. If you want to hear the music I like, go right ahead and listen to it. I have sign wins and sins, license plate wins and sins, food reviews, drink reviews. And I got a bunch of videos that I've made, and I'm gradually uploading them. I upload usually 2, sometimes 3 times a week. So, yeah, if you click on my channel and subscribe, there's probably going to be something you like. I got videos on cars, videos on transportation, all sorts of stuff. Even a couple of videos on payphones, if you can believe it or not. Payphones that I actually find, and some of these payphones, believe it or not, still work. I mean, who the heck uses a payphone anymore? I mean, you can get in some cities you can get a cell phone for free if you're poor enough.
It's the homeless people's way of communicating, I suppose.
To all the people under the age of 15 who don't know, payphones are what you put quarters in and you make a call.
Yeah.
And one last thing, I do giveaways. Once I get to 600 subscribers, I will be doing a giveaway. I do not know what the prize is going to be yet, but it'll be nice. You can check out my my prize videos. Somebody did win previously. It's not a scam. All you got to do is simply subscribe to me, and you could be a lucky winner. So, okay, so I'm done introducing myself.
Okay. What's your sub count at right now?
Last time I checked, it was 562, so I'm 38 away from the contest. So everybody who's listening, subscribe, please.
Okay, not bad.
Same here. I have to jump in and say that we also do giveaways on our channel. So don't let the lack of avatar and noobish presentation fool you. We actually we gave away a custom SuperDivorce heart logo t-shirt that we actually made a video for the person who won. We went to the local mall. We documented going to the airbrush store, and we had the shirt airbrushed and then sent it out. Actually, Obi-Wan was the winner of that one.
Cool. Obi-Wan reviews. Nice.
Yeah, but we've given away other stuff. We'll be doing another one at 250. We're at 237 right now. But we'll be giving away a copy of our album, either on CD, cassette tape, or vinyl record. We don't know which one whoever wins wants, but they'll get a pick.
All right. Well, I think everybody should give you a sub then, so they can have a chance to win that prize. That would be great. And, Angus, are you here, buddy?
Yeah, I'm Black Angus, and here to tell all you globetards the Earth is flat.
That joke didn't land anybody, dude.
No. It's fine. I was just watching some Jocelyn Glenn for the first time before I came on. So.
Yep, it's all good. Well, how's your day going, man?
Oh, it's good. Kids are finally asleep. My parents are coming up from Oklahoma, so.
Okay, I figured. I was like, yeah, you're probably dealing with family. I imagined.
So most of you guys are East Coast and Midwesters, right?
Yeah, I'm like the only one that's on the actual Pacific, like on the West, and everybody else is usually in the East.
I'm on the West too, so.
Oh, nice. That's good. But all right, so we might actually have one more person joining us. Anomaly Inc. might pop in if he has time. He said he's working on a video and then might come on in. But I was thinking of a topic for us. It's not the same old topic that we always talk about with Star Wars. But I suppose if you wanted to get any ranting about Star Wars out, you might as well do it now. So then we could focus on the happier stuff.
Can I get first dibs on that?
Yeah, because you don't have a channel, so you haven't had your chance to complain yet. So voice your concerns, man.
Sweet. It's going to be epic. All right. So Star Wars from Disney is, excuse my French, is total shit. The fact that this company bought a successful franchise and destroyed all of its anything with it, and just cherry picks from it, and basically puts all the good stuff in a blender and just keeps the shitty stuff, that's where this company is at. And that's why I have spent the money to go to Celebration to ask the questions about why they're doing this. And also the Kathleen Kennedy extension. It's going to be like the guy who was in charge of ESPN. She ain't going to be there very much longer. Thank God.
That's it. Well,
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna have way more to unpack than that.
Yeah. I believe KK is going to go after the next Indiana Jones movie, whenever that's going to be made.
Yeah, it's going to be the very neutral family issues, or can't handle the traveling back and forth, that kind of crap.
I don't know if she's got kids, and if she does, they're probably all fully grown, so they'll have to be like a grandkid excuse.
I don't know. I feel like with her, with KK, I mean, I don't know. I know that she wanted to have the female empowerment, but I mean, she could have really thought, like, hey, why can't we just make this a little bit more accepting for boys and girls, but had no idea how to do it, and just, fucked up before she could realize that people don't like what it is. But I don't know.
But I never felt like Star Wars was only a man thing.
Oh, I know, but she obviously wasn't a fan, so she wouldn't know what it was.
I've also noticed, I think it's very unusual that all the female main protagonists are brunettes like she is. They all kind of have the similar face of her.
Yeah. She has an English fetish for some reason. She's an Anglophile.
Yeah,
that means she likes English things, like English actors and actresses.
Yeah. I mean, I just saw Solo for the first time. Don't tell them when I bootlegged it. But that was not a good movie. Like, I don't like that guy that played Han Solo. Like, he's smiling like an idiot, like half the movie. He doesn't even do anything. Like, it's boring, unoriginal, shit, right?
It's less insulting than The Last Jedi, but, I'd say it's more
entertaining. Maul had more character, and Darth Maul said one line in The Phantom Menace.
True.
I felt like Alden Ehrenreich was just miscast.
The reason he was cast is because Steven Spielberg. Steven Spielberg gave him the thumbs up to Kathleen Kennedy and stuff.
It's just he didn't pull the performance off. I found it distracting the entire time I was watching the movie. I think with a convincing Han Solo, it could have been passable.
Yeah, I agree.
It definitely wasn't as bad as The Last Jedi, but it was just kind of bland, which a Han Solo movie shouldn't have been.
True.
I felt he had the least amount of lines out of pretty much the entire rest of the cast.
It's probably a good plan. Probably a good plan, though.
Yeah, well, of course, yeah, they got to introduce other things, but also I didn't like that in the movie. Woody Harrelson's character kills Aura Singh, and he doesn't really go into detail about that. Like, apparently, Aura Singh is a badass.
Hold on, I mean, she still technically could be alive. She did go off at like the side of a cliff allegedly, but she could still be alive. We don't know that yet.
I would have rather have seen him go into the swoop race with Dengar and have that rivalry with the other bounty hunters that you see in Empire and why they're after him. That would have been cool.
Well, they could have also had him start out half the movie kind of like how he was, but then, he gets screwed over by the middle of the film, and then the rest, he's, evolved from that. Like, he learned his lessons, like, of, what, fuck all these people. Now, I'm just me and Chewie, and we're doing our own shit. And that's, like, the rest of the movie or something. Like, he goes and gets revenge on them after he gets screwed over, maybe. Like, after after they do the Kessel Run or something, have that be where it starts. Like, do the Kessel Run stuff or something, and then you have more to do. And then, okay, you just took all the stuff that I just won for you guys. We're gonna get that back. Fuck that. Like, I don't care if it's for your rebellion. It's Chewie and me, and we're not gonna be screwed over anymore. It could have been better.
I also didn't like that L337 was transferred into the Millennium Falcon because I make my girlfriends watch Star Wars with me every Thanksgiving. That's my tradition. And I make her sit through it with me. And in Empire Strikes Back, we just watched that. And when C-3PO's talking about the attitude of the ship, it made me cringe. I was just like, ugh, that's...
Yeah. L3 is in the Falcon now.
Yes. It was so cringy.
Mm-hmm.
Even my girlfriend brought that up, and she is not a Star Wars fan. She watches them because I love it, but she's not a fan of it. She tolerates it because, you know, she's with me. But yeah, she even was just like, oh, that's kind of cringy now that I watch this.
Yep. True.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna say if the Falcon, you know, there's that rumor that the Falcon might get destroyed.
That'd be nice, actually. I'm tired of seeing it.
Yeah.
Now I wouldn't mind if before Solo, I would have been upset if the Falcon got destroyed. But now knowing that if the Falcon does get destroyed, that means L3 goes with it. So I wouldn't feel as bad.
I don't feel bad about that either. Honestly, I think Chewie and Han should have gone out together in The Force Awakens. I don't like that they make Chewbacca, basically, like everyone says, he's an Uber driver now. Just flies right around.
They could have actually done more for Chewie's character if they, you know, gave him something to do after he's dead. Like, they could have made him still interesting without him being an Uber driver. But
I mean, you know, I'm a big EU guy, so I've read all the books, like the Uzong Vong stuff. When Chewbacca actually dies in the books, they could have done something totally epic like that, and that would have been much better than what they're doing with him now. Now he's just
he's their mascot.
Yeah, he's screen dressing at this point. He does nothing more than maybe give one growl and almost eats a porg. That's it.
If he ate the porg, I would have been so happy. That would have been so great. I'd be like, oh, yes, have him tear into its flesh while the others quiver in fear, not running away for some reason.
Yeah, my buddy is
like, you're next.
The porgs. My buddy loves the porgs.
Yes. But I want to switch it up, though. So instead of talking about the sequels for a little while, let's talk a little bit about the prequels. And one thing that we did on the Rants channel was talked a little bit about how we would, not how we would do the whole movies, but at least how we would start the prequels. So like, instead of just going, oh, how'd you start the Phantom Menace? How would you start episode 2 after the Phantom Menace? You can have it be, you know, either 10 years after, 5 years after, 20 years, however much time you want to do, so that it stays within the original trilogy timeline anyway. And like, what would you do for the beginning of Attack of the Clones? So like, I'll give an example so you guys can do it. So like, I would have it start where Anakin is already, you know, he and Padme are already doing on a mission together, and they're with Obi-Wan. Maybe they're on Kamino defending it from an attack from the droids. Like, they're already in the middle of the Clone Wars. We don't get to see the actual beginning of it. It's already started and they're there. And this way you can already see, you know, some interactions with them and the clones. You could see Obi-Wan and Anakin, how they do teamwork and all that. And, you know, then you could see even with them that like maybe Anakin and Padme don't want to love each other, but they keep on getting thrust into all these missions. And then, you know, at some point they have a fling instead of falling in love, and have a baby at some point. And that's why they don't know the mom or something, or the dad, because, you know, they just had a fling. They didn't fall in love. You know, how would you do the Attack of the Clones if you could do it differently, if you could start it a better way? Yeah,
I'll start. Well, first of all, anonymously, hey, Anon, how are you, man?
Good. Good. How are you?
Yeah. We're I'll just say like we're right now. We're just gonna say like, what would you done with the prequels? Well, first of all, before I even knew what 1, 2, and 3 were gonna be, I kind of assumed I never saw Vader as like marriage material, so to speak. You know, yeah. I always assumed Luke and Leia were born out of wedlock. So yeah, like first of all, like everyone says everyone says after episode 1, like, or during episode 1, they would have Anakin already as an adult. I can understand like George Lucas was trying to do the son ripped away from his mother dynamic. That I understand, but you could have done that with a teenage. You didn't have to do it with a 9-year-old boy. You could have done it with a 14-year-old boy. I definitely would have had Anakin and Padme be the same age. First of all, no
I agree
5-year
with that.
gap, which is a little on the creepy side, if you know what I mean. But I would have had them be the same age, like either 14, 15, or 16 in episode 1. This way, you could have had the same actor play Anakin a little older than the Clone Wars. I would have had a 3-year gap between episode 1 and episode 2. Anakin would have been, 18, 19 at the start of the Clone War. It would have only been a 3-year gap, not a 10-year gap. And I would have them like Rookie said, it would have been a fling, no marriage, no very little time for. You don't have time for, ever heard of the expression a war romance?
Yeah, that's what I was saying. It's like out of passion rather than out of love. It's like they keep on getting into these situations. He's never been with the chick. She's usually a proper, and they keep on being in all these action situations. So they get like a little hanky-panky love. Right,
exactly. That's how episode 2 would have been, and episode 3 would pretty much be the same, since Revenge of the Sith clearly is the best. So yeah, that's what I would have had it done. I would have had a like who the father, like Rookie exactly said, like who could the father possibly be? So yeah. All right, that's how I would have done the prequels.
Okay. I agree with that. I actually like that theory. I would have done Anakin not as a kid, avoid the pod racing, all that stuff, and had Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan find him as a teenager, because when he went to the council, he was already too old to train, so they could have had Hayden Christensen, because he was pretty young when he started doing the Star Wars trilogy, and he was.
Yeah, he could have played.
He would have fit that role.
He could have played a 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, because he was only 19 in Attack of the Clones.
Yeah, and I mean, usually actors are older when they play younger roles, anyways. Right. So I mean, Hayden Christensen, it would have been better to see him in all 3 films and go with that, because like you said, like do that 3-year gap when the Clone Wars actually starts and build up on more of the Revenge of the Sith, like get to know the clones more, like how they did in the animated series, with like Captain Rex, Cody, Wolf, showing more of the Jedi and, how it was affecting the council and stuff like that. Like I see that. That's why they had to come out with the Clone Wars to kind of fill in that, that big gap of time between the first and second movie. But I agree with that. I would have rather seen it at a 14 to 15-year-old Anakin. He's already older, kind of rebellious teenager. That would have fit way more with his story. And
and he still would have had the trauma of being ripped away from his mom.
Exactly. It would have made the effects of him becoming Vader more a much smoother transition, knowing why Vader is Vader, not just he was a kid, and his mom got killed by sand people,
Plus, you could say if he's older and a slave on that planet, then he did more hardcore work than just doing a little mechanical work, and maybe have some scars from the shit he's done. But yeah, before we continue, though, since we got a new person on here, I want you, hey, Anomaly, say hi.
Hey, how you guys going? I'm just listening to you guys whine over the prequels, so,
we're just saying how we could have done them a little differently. I mean, and so we're not saying that they were horrible. I'm just saying, like, if we wanted to, how would we have started them if we wanted to do them differently? Instead of just, talking about the sequels and stuff. I just wanted to change it up.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I'm actually interested to see how people interpret the prequels, because I have my own lens at looking at them, and I was part of the demographic that was born like literally just 5-6 years before Phantom Menace came out. So like we were probably the prime age to like see them. And I said I saw the prequels before I saw the original trilogy. Don't get me wrong, I've like, as I've grown up, the prequels have sort of like lessened for me a bit, and the original trilogy is like skyrocketed in quality to my eyes. But I mean, that's not to say the OT is perfect too, because that has also aged poorly to me in some areas. But like you know what I mean, like I think there's a lot of the problem I have with people who bash the prequels. And I'm not saying that's what you guys were doing, but like problem I have with it is because there's a giant hypocrisy there. Not only with people who love The Last Jedi, but with people who just will defend the OT to the bitter end and just will like put it on this pedestal. Does that make sense? I'm not saying they're because, like I said, my favorite Star Wars movie is Empire, and like my most nostalgic Star Wars movie is The Phantom Menace. So I got a weird selection of how I rank the movies, but like I said, like when you guys were talking about Anakin and The Phantom Menace and Anakin and Attack of the Clones, the way I choose, like, here's the thing. Lucas chose, and I've seen a lot of people give Jake Lloyd a bunch of shit, and it kind of bothers me looking at it. Lucas chose Jake Lloyd by design. He wanted to portray Anakin as this sweet, innocent little boy, and I think the idea behind that was to show like the massive transformation in the grand scheme of things when he goes from that sweet little boy to Darth Vader. Now, I understand a lot of people who grew up with the original trilogy was like, look at this kid. How can this kid be Vader? And then when another complaint I see is how Anakin looks at Padme and how he's all creeper and how he's like stalkerish and how their love story is awkward. But I think, and here's the thing, I don't know if that's entirely by design. Reason being, because Lucas wanted to make the Jedi like monks and he succeeded. A lot of people like to rag on the acting, but that's also by design. It's meant to be dry. It's meant to be emotionless. That's what a Jedi meant to be in the Thingo. So, but when Anakin comes back to Padme after he had a schoolboy crush on her since he was like a little kid, and he's been living the life of a monk and had his loins clogged up for 10 years, how exactly is he supposed to be smooth around her? You know what I mean? I don't know if that's by design or if it's just unintentionally brilliant, but I think it's actually the way he acts around her, the way he stares at her, the way he talks around her is not very smooth, kind of awkward. I think it's actually brilliant for that reason. Again, I don't know if it's intentional or unintentional, but it makes sense when you think about it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that's kind of how I saw it too.
It does make sense.
That makes sense.
I don't know. I kind of disagree, especially given everything that happens. Well, you see it obviously more in the Clone Wars, but throughout the time that, well, I would say between episodes 1 and 2, Anakin supposedly was out having all of these experiences where he's growing as a person and he's being groomed to be a Jedi.
But not in the romantic department.
No, but you would assume that he's encountered females before out in the world. I mean, like I said, it happens. You see it in the Clone Wars. You see him encountering all sorts of different people, and there's no reason to assume that wasn't happening as he was growing up as well. I just find it hard to believe that until we see him in episode 2, he had like never interacted with a female before. He was totally just rendered speechless, or, well, I wouldn't say speechless, but completely awkward and strange around Padme. I don't know.
It's got to be treated as case by case. Reason being, remember, he's had a crush on Padme for like 10 years, though. You know what I mean? Like, if he's encountered other women, then great. But then that's all off screen or in like, is that in the Clone Wars? Because I never saw the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars covers some of that. He'll go and meet other species.
Other species like some.
There's other female Jedi too. I mean,
yeah, I mean,
not
he's
all
been
the Jedi are male.
But it was Padme was like the first girl, who he met when he was, he was still a slave, and she actually cared for him in the way that no one
like really important. Okay, but Anakin's from Tatooine. The women there ain't exactly that good.
Yeah, but he had no problem talking to her as a young boy. Why did he become incredibly
hormones?
Well, yeah, but I don't know. He seems like a completely. Well, that's one problem that I have with Jake Lloyd and Hayden Christensen is they don't seem. Hayden Christensen in no way seems like a logical evolution of the character you see in episode 1.
But he's
I actually
also
agree with that opinion.
he's also arrogant and spoiled though, because he is so powerful with the Force. They keep on saying that too, that his abilities makes him arrogant. So he has that attitude along from where his roots are. So I mean, I don't see him being a dude with swag or being less awkward. A lot of them seem awkward anyway. Like,
well,
they just seem they're monks. Yeah.
Well, I think it's because Anakin, when he was a slave and he didn't have, he had his friends, that he grew up with, but Padme was the girl who actually like cared for him, and she actually did things for him in the first movie that made him grow fond of her. Yeah, he met other women on his trials as a monk and stuff, but Padme was really the one that actually influenced him, and he always had that love for her, like a childhood crush that grew, and he knew if he ever saw her again, that love wouldn't be untainted. So I think, like you said, like the Jake Lloyd, Hayden Christensen, it's a weird evolution to look at them like movie to movie. But I think just as Anakin growing up, always having that, kind of like awe for Padme, like she's out of his league, and she's a queen, and he was fond of her, I guess you would say, power that she had. She was very respectable, but also it was the things about her that drew him to her.
Like
that's
her
how I
midriff.
look at it.
Sorry. Yeah, no, I agree with all that. You guys need to watch the Attack of the Clones documentary. It's a long watch. It's like 3 hours, but holy shit, is it an interesting read? Sorry, watch. Excuse me.
Yeah, I just watched that myself recently.
Yeah? What'd you think?
Long, but it was interesting to see where George Lucas was trying to take it. Obviously, the movie was dark in a dark time in the country, so it kind of didn't mesh well with people. I see that.
A dark time in the country? How so? Sorry.
Well, right after 9/11.
Yeah, we had 9/11 and stuff like that. So America was in
yeah, excuse me.
That's why Spider-Man was one of the that's why Spider-Man was one of the biggest movies.
The noughties, the early 2000s are pretty colorful over here. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah, it's just because 9/11 happened and then a really dark movie. That's why Spider-Man was one of the highest grossing movies of that time, because it gave people that sense of like,
hope.
Oh god,
exactly.
Spider-Man, man, that film, that Spider-Man 1 and 2 were like my that was my fucking childhood, man. Those influences.
Oh yeah,
so
Spider-Man 2 is the best Spider-Man.
Oh,
I don't care what no one says about Into
yeah.
the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man 2 is the best one.
I love you, Darth
praising
Tico.
the Spider-Verse, because I haven't watched reviews on it. I just don't really care.
It looks like it's not a superhero movie. It's a comedy pretending to be a superhero movie. That's what
exactly. That's what I've heard. I've heard everyone looks past the Peter Parker's like divorce now and shit. Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers.
Please no. I'm planning on going to see it this weekend. Please.
There's a lot of stuff in it that people who are Spider-Man fans like Geoff and stuff like that, there's a lot of things that he's not going to like about that, because it kind of ridicules the character. Now, I haven't seen it, but I've watched a lot of reviews on it.
It is taking place in an alternative universe, though.
Exactly.
It is,
that's a thing.
So,
yeah,
well, it brings
together,
right? Because I think
it's not going to ruin.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. No, I'm just saying. To me, I'm also a huge Star Trek fan. See, to me, Star Wars is ruined. But to me, right now, Star Trek, well, at least for the movies, Discovery is god awful. But the movies are not ruined to me, because the JJ Star Trek takes place in an alternate universe. So this Spider-Man, the Spider-Verse movie isn't going to kill it for me. So does they.
Well,
yeah,
the Spider-Verse,
that's why it's getting such high reviews, is because people know it's that alternate universe, separating it from the actual canon Spider-Man.
Spider heroes in from different universes, if I understand correctly, because I'm pretty sure it's drawing inspiration from the Edge of Spider-Verse storyline. I don't know if anyone ever read that in the comics. It was a really cool story where basically spider heroes from all across the multiverse were being hunted down and killed, like one by one. And so they kind of had to come together and fight this evil. But you know, to me, when I watched the trailer and such for the Spider-Verse movie, it seems like they could have done something really cool and you know, and something with a lot of gravity to it, and they went in more of like the, I don't know, tongue-in-cheek, kid-friendly direction, and I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's animated. It's got to be kid-friendly. So,
well, not necessarily. I mean, look at all DC's animated features.
Oh yeah, they can get pretty dark.
Yeah,
you know what? I actually think that DC makes better animated content than the Marvel universe, just because they have so much to go off of. I mean, Batman. Which one is it? Excuse me. Batman the Animated Series. That's like one of the best animated series of all time.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
like that noir style. Yeah, that's incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic. There are some people who don't give two craps about Batman, but they'll watch the animated series because it's so good.
Oh, the animated series. I actually grew up on that as a kid. That is one of my favorite cartoons.
Darth Chico. It's funny you said that because I went to the library recently, checked out season 1 of Batman, and I watched like the first 3 episodes. I'm like, oh my god, did Chris Nolan rip off the Batman the Animated Series? As much as I love the Dark Knight trilogy, I watch it and I'm like, wow, this feels like I've seen this before.
Yeah, I mean, the best part about it was so different, and you know, Batman animated series was really ahead of its time. That noir style of the animation and how he actually looked, and you know, the story behind him was incredible for the time.
Absolutely,
nothing to do with that.
Yeah, and of course, keep in mind this is supposed to be a Star Wars chat. Who was the voice of the Joker?
Of course, yeah, and Mark Hamill as the Joker, of course, which made it even. Which, you know, when you're a kid, you don't really notice things, but when you get older, you know, I'm almost 30. I'll be 30 next year, and you see little things that have come from it, like at other franchises and characters you like. It makes it grow on you more because you appreciate it more because you like that actor, or you know, it's just nice to see them in a different way. You know, Mark Hamill is my favorite Joker, by the way. So,
what did you think of Troy Baker's rendition of Mark Hamill's Joker?
I actually haven't seen that.
Oh, you haven't seen that?
Oh, in what?
I do like the Tommy Wiseau version of the Heath Ledger Joker. That's pretty funny.
That was good. Troy Baker did the Joker in what Batman game was it? Origins, maybe? Was that one of the Batman games? Arkham?
I haven't played that one. I stopped playing after Arkham City.
Okay.
I actually have both of those, the Arkham Knight and not Arkham Knight. Escape from Arkham Prison, I think was the title of the first one. And then Arkham City, where Mark Hamill was the Joker. Mark Hamill's my favorite Joker. I'll watch anything with him being the Joker or play any game. Those are actually the 2 best games of the Batman series, in my opinion.
Is somebody moving around?
That was me, sorry.
Okay, so I've just been noticing just noises rumbling in the back.
Yeah, it sounds like sandpaper.
Yeah, I've been going up and down stairs getting that beer I've already been like a 6-pack in because I finished my semester with all A's, so I've been cracking beer all day.
Okay. Well, that's all good. But, okay, so I know we were talking about Star Wars, but did you guys see the Mortal Kombat trailer?
No.
Yeah, I did. Get with the music. Oh my god, that was horrible.
No, I have not seen it.
Was it really bad, or like the DC
the music kills the mood. In my opinion, that's just me. That's just my opinion. But
I think a lot of people share your opinion. The
trailer was really cool, so cringy.
Put it on mute and watch.
Oh yeah, on mute. I actually did that. The trailer is amazing. Like the combat, the gore, like. Mortal Kombat is not they're not cutting it back because gore and violence is like the new thing to cut back on. No, they like amplified it, but the music is terrible.
Just put on your favorite song first and then mute the video and watch it.
I've actually
Much
done
better.
that. Yeah, I put on some metal music to it, like Slayer.
Yeah, there you go.
Way better. You put on Rain of Blood just right at the breakdown. That Mortal Kombat trailer is awesome.
There you go. That's how to do it.
Yep. Do you guys play the Mortal Kombat games in here?
I do. I've been playing Mortal Kombat since it was on Sega Genesis.
Played the Dragon Ball Z fighter games, but never Mortal Kombat style. Never Tekken or any of those.
Right.
I know I'm dating myself here, but the last Mortal Kombat game I played was Mortal Kombat 3.
Nice.
Was that on
good one?
64?
That was PlayStation 2.
Oh, okay.
Mortal Kombat 3 was on Genesis.
Yeah, it was on Sega still.
No, I'm sorry. My mistake. The original PlayStation. Well, I go way back. I was playing video games since I was 2. 2.5, almost 3. I started playing video games. My first console was an old 2600 when I was an Atari 2600 when I was 4.
Alright.
Did you have the ET Atari game?
No, I didn't have that, thank God. But I had Space Invaders Pole Position, Galaxin, Galaga, Asteroids. Of course, everybody had that. Pitfall. What else did I have? The original Donkey Kong, but then Nintendo got it, and trying to remember this one game, Missile Command. Yeah.
I'm gonna turn on my camera. This is actually when I became a big time gamer. Was when these games came out.
Oh, my boy.
Battlefront. Battlefront 2.
Original Xbox.
Original Xbox. Yeah. Yeah.
And they still work. I've taken such good care of them, and they still work.
The retro Star Wars games are the best fucking games, man. Like Force Unleashed, Jedi Academy, which I just started playing, Knights of the Old Republic. I haven't played the Battlefronts yet. I've just seen so much footage, and I'm like, God, why didn't I play it when I was young?
You can actually, right now, you can download Battlefront 2. If you're okay with the old graphics and the pixelation, you can actually get Battlefront 2, the original, the good one, on Xbox Live right now for $10.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm gonna get them. Yep. I'm gonna do like I think next year I'm gonna review every single retro Star Wars game, every popular one. So like, I'm gonna do Squadron first, then I'm gonna do
all of them.
Knights of the Old Republic, then Jedi Academy, which I'm loving at the moment, and then I'll probably get to Battlefront last, unless we'll see what happens. But I can't wait to play it.
I would say if you're gonna do that, do the obviously the Jedi Academy stuff first. Those are great games. And then you move yourself to, if you want more RPG, go and play KOTOR 1. And if you're on PC, get KOTOR 2 because there is an updated version, and it's phenomenal.
Okay, I got my laptop that I'm on right now. It's pretty powerful. It is a gaming laptop, but I don't use it for games as of yet. See how we go. My friends told me that the MMO Knights of the Old Republic is so fucking good, even to this day. Holy shit.
Yeah, the nice part about that game is every single class you play has a completely different story. You can choose light or dark like you could in the Knights of the Old Republic, which I actually just finished playing again myself.
Yeah.
I'm on my 30th whatever completion of that game. But
I just did a top 10 games of 2018 video that like hardly anybody watched and got copyrighted for some reason. Anyway,
I was actually wondering where that went. I wanted to watch it, but before I could actually get to it, it was gone. I was like, what the hell?
No, it's still up. I don't know.
Oh, is it still up? Oh, I couldn't find it earlier.
Let me know if you can't see it. It should still be up there. It got copyrighted, but it just means I can't. the monetization.
If you had monetization on it, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, because I couldn't find it earlier. I was actually going to watch that before I started my class.
Get this, the fucking company that copyrighted me was because I didn't have the footage of Red Dead, but I wanted to give it an honorable mention. Red Dead Redemption 2. Fucking Rockstar Games is the one that copyrighted me because I used pieces of the trailer. Yeah.
You would think with all the awards they're winning, they would be like, fuck it, whatever.
I'm promoting their game, and I had a really funny story about Red Dead, about how this 60-year-old man recommended it to me while I was working, and I gave him like a discount like immediately. And I heard that. Oh, you guy's 60 years old. I'm like, this dude, fucking, what a legend. Anyway, yeah, I really check out that video if you guys want. It's got some. The reason I bring it up is because it's the best games of 2018 that I played, but barely any of them are from 2018. Like Knights of the Old Republic is on there. What else?
Dragon Ball Heroes or something. I forget.
There's a couple of like indie games like the Swapper and Ori and the Blind Forest. Definitely check out those two. What else? Zelda Breath of the Wild, Super Mario Odyssey was on there. Top spot went to Assassin's Creed Odyssey though, which was, I think, like it was so under. You hear about Red Dead and you hear about God of War and Spider-Man. Assassin's Creed Odyssey was so good and it got swept under the rug. Like I felt really bad because it was like one of the best.
You're talking Assassin's Creed Odyssey. I haven't played Assassin's Creed since Assassin's Creed 3 because the ending pissed me off.
Oh, you're not the only one, man. Like I quit. I played.
Oh my god, that was horrible.
No, I got
horrible. What they did to Desmond, yeah.
I went right back to fucking playing as Ezio because at least that was a good story.
Yeah,
but yeah. Oh my god, that was horrible.
I can't wait to play the Ezio collection again, remastered on Xbox One. That's gonna be great. But I actually I was like you. I let it go. I played Black Flag, which is like the sequel, the prequel to Assassin's Creed 3, but it was like it was called Assassin's Creed 4 though. So Black Flag, that was fantastic. It was the first game I got on Xbox One, and I was like, yeah, okay. Well, I loved it. I never played
pirate ships and stuff like that. Where you're a pirate. Dude, okay, I think I touched that a little bit.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
The only thing that was messed up was the story because it never explains how he's so good at being an assassin. He's just some guy who is good with ships and is a pirate.
Oh, okay. I think I dabbled with that one a little bit. My buddy had it, and I played it while I was down in Arizona visiting. So,
yeah, Black Flag was the last one I played in its entirety. Yeah,
this year, like 5 years later, I picked up Assassin's Creed Rogue Remastered, and I wanted to play that because I wanted to play it on. After Black Flag, I'm like, wow, this is like the continuation of that story in the same era. You got Assassin's Creed 3, you got Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and you got Assassin's Creed Rogue. All of them it's like a trilogy, but it's all messed up in the timeline. And then I played Rogue Remastered on Xbox One because it wasn't available on Xbox One before, and I fucking loved it. And then I just
Rogue
played all the
great.
Yeah,
no one ever talks about it.
And it's got the best story in my opinion. Like for a standalone Assassin's Creed game, I think it's got the best story.
It's great, and it picks up it ends right where Unity begins.
Oh, okay. I was actually going to ask you guys
right where Unity begins. I thought it ended right where Assassin's Creed 3 begins. No. Because
I was actually going to ask you guys that. What do you guys think of Assassin's Creed Unity? Because I haven't really played. Once Assassin's Creed 3 came out, I stopped after that because the story just got messed up and I just didn't like it anymore.
I don't even remember Unity. There's been so many. I played Origins, and I mean, they had some features that were fine, but overall, I mean, yeah.
Which one is the Egyptian one?
Origins. That's Origins.
Okay. Yeah, I played a little bit of that. I like that one.
The thing is, though, Assassin's Creed, they're releasing a game every year. It's becoming too watered down. They gotta
Call of Duty style.
It's just like every game company. They're releasing shit every year.
We can't even kill the citizens.
Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the one that I played this year, that was seriously that actually that's like the ancient Assassin's Creed version. Like Origins is like where the Assassin's Creed order like begins, but Odyssey is like hundreds of years before that and is like based on supernatural mythology. So you're like this demigod dude, and you're like fighting all these mythical creatures, taking part in big battles.
What?
Dear
That
God,
looks really cool.
the way that
I
they
haven't seen any
did the world
advertisement.
of ancient Greece, like that's like one of the best open world games I've ever played. It's just that game is such a joy to fucking turn on and just like start exploring.
Okay, so Odyssey is the newest one.
Odyssey is the newest, and in my opinion, the best that I've played in terms of how much. Because I played it for like 80 hours because there was just so much shit to do.
I wish I could put 80 hours into a game.
I can't, much as I'd like to, I can't say it's better than Origins because I haven't played Origins, but I prefer the setting of ancient Greece to ancient Egypt.
Okay, so the newest installment is the ancient Greeks. Then,
yes.
Okay, all right. I might actually check that out then.
People say, here's the thing I hated about it though. People were like saying we need to make the woman character the canon character, and I'm like, why? It's like because she's got the better voice actor. And I'm like, so what? I'm just like, that's the only line of reasoning. She's a better voice actor. Let's make her the canon character. Like I wasn't too underwhelmed. Like, I wasn't too soft with the guy. I think it's actually kind of funny in some areas, and he gave some little bits in there that were good. Gave a good performance, but a lot of people really ragged on it. And they're like, we need to make Cassandra the other is the girl in the story. We need to make her the canon character. She's the best. Everyone pick her. Don't worry about the male character. And for some reason, I think that was by design because Ubisoft always wanted to push diversity. There's like female soldiers in Assassin's Creed Odyssey, which I did not like because I'm like, this is okay. You're pushing the envelope here. And then like now we're gonna make Cassandra the canon character. And I'm like, what is your reasoning behind that? It's like, well, she's a better voice actor. I'm like, huh.
So
is
what?
It possible, and this is just my theory here, is it possible Ubisoft intentionally hired a crappy voice actor so people would want to play the woman? Because,
well, I mean, look at Battlefield 5. They rewrote history for no fucking reason, and then they got mad at people because they threw out historically accuracy.
Not Ubisoft. That was DICE. But yeah,
well, yeah, I know, but you know, game companies are doing that. They're throwing out.
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
Just making a good game.
Yeah,
soon we're
gonna be seeing African Nazis soon. Just watch.
Wait, didn't they do that in Call of Duty?
Oh, go ahead. But that was only in multiplayer.
Yeah, well, still, you're having black Nazis? Like, what the fuck?
Well, the thing, though, Call of Duty, I'm assuming you're talking about World War II Call of Duty. They're not even technically the Nazis. If anything, they have the Iron Cross.
Yeah. That's so they could have the game in Germany and Israel. That's why they do that, yeah.
They did it Black Zombies in Resident Evil.
I mean, here's my thing with gaming. If you're gonna like Battlefield, I'm a diehard Battlefield fan. I mean, right now on my Xbox, I have Battlefield 1, 2, 3. I got Bad Company. I got them all, and it's just to watch DICE slowly, basically pull content from the game and just make up their stories and move away from historical accuracy. Even though Bad Company 2 wasn't historically accurate and Battlefield 1 and stuff like that, but to move away from that, it really damages their brand. Obviously, everyone can see that because they're 50% off right now. It's just you're seeing where these game developers are going. They're more focused on their political agenda of today, but SJWs don't buy this shit.
I know.
They're pissing off their fans to support a group of people who aren't even going to give them their money.
Did you see the Angry Joe controversy on it?
Was that?
Did you see the Angry Joe controversy on the Battlefield 5?
I've been watching all of his videos. I actually watched his last video before I joined the chat, and I actually had a problem with Angry Joe. Don't copyright trick us, Angry Joe. With his when he was reviewing the beta and stuff, and I agree with when Delworth was saying like he's done. Like I haven't bought Battlefield 5. I played Battlefield 1, and I just felt lackluster. Like no guns, and it's just the core of Battlefield is gone.
Right.
That's the problem with it. The core is gone, and it's all just cosmetic and looking showy. That there's no actual depth to the game.
No, I see. Yeah, apparently the pre-orders were down by 85% to Call of Duty. 85%. That's crazy.
That's a huge drop off.
Yeah, I am a diehard supporter of that game, and I do not buy it anymore because the game is gone. It's all cosmetic and it's all microtransaction. There's no game left. It's the same game every time, just a different skin. That's it.
No, I see. Well, arguably that's the reason I stopped playing Call of Duty. Really, I used to play it like diehard, and then I just stopped because I was just like, why am I playing the same thing over and over again? The reason I stuck with Halo for the most part is that might change if Halo 6 is shit because I really hated Halo 5. Halo is garbage. Halo is a classic because it's constantly a different experience. I mean, the weapons are the same and everything, but every time there's just so much to do in it and so much options, really. And like you're on the same map always, but like you spawn with the same weapon, but you always there's a wide arsenal to mix things up, and the team play is really good.
Yeah, and
something that's bothered me about shooters for a long time is gradually they seem to have gotten rid of the option of having server browsers. Like I still play Counter-Strike and Day of Defeat.
CSGO.
Like, I don't really get into Go as much. I still play Source.
Old school Xbox Counter-Strike?
No, on PC.
Counter-Strike.
Yeah, but
I still got that shit too.
Dude, we should play sometime. Venom
Counter-Strike's like super competitive. It's still got like millions of people who play it. Apparently, that's what I heard.
That's the thing, though. CS:GO is screwed because of all the microtransaction shit. Like CS:GO has gotten the population has actually gone down.
What's CS:GO?
I tried Go when it came out, and I just didn't like it as much. I don't know. I don't want to sound like an elitist, but it just didn't. It didn't have the charm of Source, and a lot of people said the same thing about Source when it came out compared to 1.6. So you'll have people, they have their favorites. That's just how I feel about it.
CS:GO, by the way, Anomaly is a Counter-Strike Go. It's the newest updated version of Counter-Strike.
Is it on the mobile?
No, it's I don't know if it's mobile. I know it's PC. You can get it on Steam and stuff, but it's just the most updated model of it. Literally, it's the same game. It's just, it's lost its consumer base because they're literally selling people the same thing over and over, just like how Battlefield's doing it.
Right, okay. All right.
Yep. What about you, Angus?
What, gaming? I'm not a big gamer. So.
I know, that's why.
I'm just listening. Like I'm enjoying this guy's talk. Like I would love to get deep into games. Like I like Witcher 3. I'm about halfway through it, but I haven't played it in months because, working with YouTube, it's like when I make a video, I devote myself. So I don't have too much time, just like you.
Yeah.
Is that you, Mr. P?
What was that? What was that anomaly about? What? I'm sorry. What was the question?
That's you.
Yeah. I catch your show sometimes early in the morning.
Yeah, no, I know. I'm just like, wait, is that Mr. P?
Oh, you didn't? Yes, the one and only.
Up to now, dude? Because that was an ongoing thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I assumed you guys knew.
Yeah, I just uploaded a quick video today. Yeah, so
I'm checking it out right now.
It's only like 50 seconds long. It's kind of funny too. Yeah.
What's Mr. Pete up to on his channel?
Yeah, he's always looking at payphone.
Halfway to the big.
Yeah. What would you guys think if
a small truck?
What would you guys think if they made a game where it's like Mortal Kombat versus Super Smash Bros?
What would the main target audience be?
It would be Mortal Kombat graphics and style, but you have like Super Mario in there with his fireballs and shit, and like Jigglypuff in there.
What would that game be rated?
Who cares? It would be cool to see Giant Gorilla versus Onaga or something. I don't know, just a random thing.
Would you update Donkey Kong and such to like the same artistic realism as like Mortal Kombat?
I said it would be the style of Mortal Kombat. So all the bone cracking, all the digital aspects would all be like the new Mortal Kombat.
No. I mean like Mario and stuff. Like, would they be drawn up to a realistic level like Mortal Kombat? Like, I understand.
They would be their size that they're supposed to be. They originally are. So if they're
like
really
2 feet tall, or
if they're small, they're small. If they're big, they're big. But so like
I would love to play a game where I could just smash all the fucking Nintendo characters. That'd be great. I would definitely buy that.
Would you include Bowsette?
Yeah, why not? Have some sex appeal, I guess. I don't know.
Hey, Rookie, I'm gonna rejoin real quick because I'm on my phone and it switched to just putting it up to my ear. So I'll be right back.
Okay, cool.
Angus who's ditching? Hang on, who was that? He's just leaving.
Darth Tico is just leaving.
Oh, righto. Angus, you said you're working on a video. Is that true? Did I hear right?
Right now I'm just reading. I'm trying to just kind of rest my brain a bit and just do like the live streams with Rookie right now. But I am currently reading some stuff. I'm reading a book called Selfie, and it's talking a lot about like the science of like primates and ourselves and depression and shit with technology. And I want to do a video about that probably. Maybe by next year. I don't know. It's a big book.
Cool. Okay. I was just wondering who someone said they were working on an in-depth video. I thought that might have been you. I was just seeing.
No, I was saying like I don't game because like I devote so much time to making videos on YouTube. It takes a while to try to research my stuff, and I was roping Rookie into that as well. Like, we don't game a lot because we invest so much time into our channels.
Yeah, I know, right? It is a grindy process, just trying to find that balance, and
I will say, taking a break from videos though, it's fun to go and just kill some things on a video game. That's for sure.
I actually am kind of glad I haven't started my own YouTube channel yet, because I know what you guys have to go through, like committing the time to recording, editing, things like that. So I'm glad I'm just I'm just Darth Tico. Just a personality in the voice chat, in the chats and stuff like that. I'm actually glad of that, because I like to play games and shoot people in the face.
You should for your channel, you should have the concept be that you're Tico, but you can make your voice pitch higher so you sound more like a chick or a chipmunk or something. I'm gonna make my voice you have to sound like you're Rose Tico. Like,
it's gonna be like my Darth Tico voice is gonna be like Vader style, like, hello, I am Darth Tico.
Yes, and you have to be like, it's all about saving the ones you love.
Yeah. If anybody knows, Tico is the real Sith Lord. I mean, obviously she sends people on stupid ass fucking casino trips and stops people from sacrificing themselves.
Helps destroy the resistance. Yep.
Yeah, like, who doesn't like watching the resistance get nailed down to 20 people?
Darth Tico, you might actually have something there, because if you remember when Rose was on DJ Stolen Ship, she was sitting in that chair. And remember when her chair spun around? Just like the Emperor's chair spun around in Return of the Jedi.
Now, here's the thing. I'm a diehard Star Wars fan. I've only seen The Last Jedi once, and I refuse to see it 2 times. I get 30 minutes into when Luke milks that boob. I can't watch. I turn it off. I can't do it.
It's called a titty.
I can't do it. I can't do it.
I actually really liked that scene. I don't know why. That's like,
what? Is it arousing?
What?
I thought, let me explain.
You're just like, oh.
Let the man speak.
Thought that was like goofy but consistent with Luke's character. Let me explain.
No. Don't get me started. Don't get me started.
Let him elaborate.
Wait, hold on.
Granted, this is all just my interpretation, all right? Just like people who hate Jar Jar Binks, all right? So
I actually like Jar Jar Binks.
Oh, good. Yeah, so do I. I like him.
There's nothing wrong with Jar Jar.
I think I'm going to be sick.
The reason I think it works with Luke, all right, and I compare this to Dragon Ball. Reason being, like, old masters, like, if you're familiar with Dragon Ball, there's a guy called Master Roshi. He's very goofy and set in his ways. He has, like, weird habits. Yoda was, like, also sort of a weird goofy old master, like endearing but weird. You know what I mean? And I think that was just a trait that just sort of endeared me to Luke more. I'm like, oh, he's not man. Like, oh,
but he doesn't do anything else like that.
And he's like, I think Mark, the biggest part of why I enjoy that scene is because how Mark Hamill sold it. He drinks it and he just like grunts, like, oh, that's good. That's good shit.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree with you if he did more goofy stuff like that after that, but he doesn't really do that other than hit her with the grass stick or whatever. That was
that's why that scene doesn't work, because
if he did a little more goofy, then he wasn't that serious.
Well, I mean, I don't like the whole sequence, just the milk bit. I would have liked it a lot more if he didn't just chuck his lightsaber over the shoulder.
They couldn't even get the right color in the movie. It's not green milk; it's blue milk. That would have been like, more nostalgia.
Well, on the silliness stuff, you have to.
There's so much wrong with that.
You have to take you have to put the silly stuff in small doses, I think. Like, imagine if crazy drunk Yoda had followed Luke around for the entire movie. You know, that
would have been dumb.
Yeah, and that's what you got with Jar Jar.
Are you talking like Yoda in episode 5 or episode 6?
No,
he dies pretty much right when you see him in episode 6, so...
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Yoda was strapped to his back, and even then he was, he wasn't like crazy man Yoda. He was teacher.
That's what he was saying. That's what he was saying. If he were to do that, though, if he were to continue being crazy
that
Yoda.
would be weird.
Yeah, but that's what you got with Jar Jar. I think that's why people had such a problem with it, is because anytime he's on screen, he totally just sucks your energy towards him, and you kind of just want him to go away.
Sucks all the humor out of the room.
Yeah.
I mean, like, if he's just doing weird shit, I mean, I don't see why it bothers so many people. The thing I love about Jar Jar that I hate about Rose Tico, and she's the thing. Actually, let me clarify. I actually like Rose Tico as a character. I think she works in Star Wars. I just think she was written so fucking poorly, because I know what Rian Johnson was going for her. And like, she's like one of those like cute, nerdy, funny people that who's good with tech. She's like a techie, that kind of character. He's like a nerd, but also sweet. I was on board with that, and I could see her like stunning like droids and stormtroopers like easily. I'm like, oh, cool, look at Rose. She's what I mean, if it made sense. But the problem is her character was written so poorly, which is why I have an issue with that. But the reason why Jar Jar works, in my opinion, and Rose doesn't, is because Rose grinds the story to a halt. And Jar Jar actually, I mean, he's on screen, and if you find him annoying, you find him annoying. If you don't, like I do, then, you know what I mean?
Well, he does play a role.
He doesn't detract from the direction the story's going. He doesn't grind the story to a halt, except when they meet the Gungans in the start. But again, everything to do with Jar Jar comes to, like,
fruition.
It plays an important role in the climax of the Phantom Menace, so it really doesn't bother me at all. I'm just like, okay, I see.
I just think there was an overdose.
This is when I was like, all right, if there was no point, then I wouldn't. Yeah,
he's seen like when he steps into shit and he gets the thing in his mouth, and it's like if there was less of that and him getting caught in the electric thing. If he's as weird as he is, but there was less of those moments where he smells the camel fart, like then people wouldn't have hated him as much, is what I think they're saying.
Yeah, another thing. There you go. Another thing, like, if I may make a comparison.
Let me interject.
Yep. If I may interject. A lot of people hate it when you compare Star Trek to Star Wars, but Star Trek Voyager had a very similar character to Jar Jar Binks. He was called Neelix. He was Jar Jar is stupid looking. Neelix, the alien, is stupid looking. Jar Jar does stupid things. Neelix does like stupid things. Like a couple of episodes he got in trouble. Jar Jar sounds like an idiot. Neelix speaks perfect English. That's why Neelix is hated a lot less than Jar Jar, because Jar Jar looks stupid and he sounds stupid and he does stupid things. Neelix looks stupid, does stupid things, but at least you can understand him. If if Jar Jar was just 2 out of those 3 things, he wouldn't be nearly as hated as much. As a matter of fact, if you talk to European fans, Japanese fans of Star Wars in the non-English speaking countries, they had like more, like he didn't sound as dumb like the German version. Like I think he sounds more like Homer, dumb, but at least you can understand him. So he's not as hated as much overseas as he is in the English speaking countries. So
he's still going.
So George, if he only had him do 2 stupid things out of 3, then he wouldn't have been nearly as hated. He wouldn't have been as bad a character.
What's also good is that only he's portrayed as being stupid, and everyone acknowledges that he's pretty dumb. Nobody goes, yeah, that's just a normal way to act. Like, Qui-Gon's like, you're an idiot. Obi-Wan's like, you're a moron. Nobody's like, yeah, you're a genius. His people shunned him because he was being dumb. And they're like, they don't like him either. So it's not like they're like, oh, he's the best. Yeah, he's the best. He's cool. They're like, no, he's a dumbass. So, yeah.
No, I'll tell you what's weird about Jar Jar is that line where they're talking about Padme. He's like, pretty hot. And it's like, wait, what? You're into fucking, early pubescent human chicks? Like, I don't get why that line was written,
I don't remember that part.
It's on Coruscant. He's talking with Annie. He's like, pretty hot. And it's like,
that was in the special edition. It was a deleted scene that was added later to the 3D.
It makes no sense. I don't get it. Like, that's just something endearing that's just so odd in the movie. Like, what the fuck?
You ever heard of Jar Jar fill you up, Banks?
No thanks.
What was I going to say? Can someone please tell me where the racism comparison to Jar Jar comes from?
They say he sounds like a Jamaican.
I didn't see the correlation at all. I have no idea what they're talking about.
I don't understand the Jamaican either.
Fucking insane, YouTubers said like he set black people back like 20 years or some shit. Like,
here's the thing.
Who's a black?
The outrage.
Black guy, but he's an alien.
I think that
Black
Angus. Hold on, one at a time. One at a time. Everybody's talking over each other. All right, SuperDivorce, you're going.
No, I was just gonna say I think if you look at Jar Jar and your mind goes to that's like a black guy, I think you're the racist.
I agree.
So I would never have made that comparison. It's like, why do you think Jar Jar Binks is like a Jamaican black guy? I don't see it.
The voice.
That's why I get so pissed off at prequel haters on the internet. They're just looking for shit. They're just new shit to. I don't know. They're just trying to warp a perspective. They're trying to get people to hate it as much as they do. That's not all of them. Like, some of them are actually fair. But like the Plinkett reviews, I Hate Everything is probably the biggest one, who just absolutely cannot stand those movies, and he just tries every trick in the book to get people to hate them. Like, for example, I watched one of his videos today about it was on Jar Media, which I think is his second channel or some shit. It's like 5 things the Star Wars prequels did horribly wrong, and he says overuse of CGI. But then he shows the Phantom Menace, and the Phantom Menace apparently had more practical effects than all 3 of the original trilogy combined. That's what I heard. If you watch the documentary, you'll see that they had so many practical effects. God,
every ship that you see flying around in the Phantom Menace, it's not CGI, it's a model. Every ship is a model.
It is.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. It's like, well, do they really expect all this stuff that they show in each of the prequels, like, to all be completely practical? I mean, they do the water world, they do the underwater city in Naboo, they do all stuff. I mean, I don't know what all was practical in it or what all wasn't, but I mean, I think it blends well enough. And I don't know, is overusing CGI horrible? Because the sequels use a bunch of CGI also, and I mean, the way they use the practical effects looks like it is a puppet half the time. So I don't know.
Right. The sequels are using more CGI than the prequels did.
Yeah, it's more noticeable. I felt like with the prequels, I mean, yeah, we know their effects, but they don't look like they wouldn't be there. It's a future society. It looks like how it would be. And then the Empire comes, and it's a darker era. It's not full of life, so there's going to be darker.
Rookie, I agree with you. The puppets in the sequels look more like puppets than they did in the prequels.
Well, I agree with that.
I agree with that too.
it's like a step down. It's like they went like total. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like, I know you're trying to like recreate the original trilogy, but you don't have to recreate it that much, if you know what I mean.
It's also if they had the technology back then and with the OT, they would have used CGI. I don't get why
exactly
they don't get that. They used what they could.
They did use CGI in they used CGI the Death Star plans.
Well, I mean,
CGI.
I mean, with other stuff
Yeah,
that they could have, but
in the OT they use more claymation than CGI. I mean, if you watch episode 5 right now,
stop motion
scenes, those are more claymation.
Stop motion, yeah,
stop motion claymation. I mean, that's what they mostly.
Yeah,
I mean, obviously, the prequels, yes, it's full CGI, but I think that's why people are appreciating it more now, is because Disney's going more practical effects and cringy past practical effects at that.
Here's another thing people like to shit on Lucas for saying, why would you do everything CG? You're just lazy. How could you do something so atrocious? It looks god-awful.
Pioneered that shit.
I don't find a problem with the CGI.
Sorry?
I don't find a problem with the CGI. I think at that point in time, he was working with what he had to. Obviously, CGI is much better.
Another thing, why don't we get all this CGI hate for like Jurassic Park? Why don't we get all this like CGI hate for
look at Jurassic World and stuff like that.
Spider-Man, Spider-Man had early CGI, I mean, where's
Jurassic
the hate?
Park, I don't think that you didn't have like huge sweeping vistas being done in CG where
they filmed in Hawaii.
Right. And so the CG is done more, I guess tastefully perhaps. And
it doesn't stick out as bad.
Yeah. In the prequel trilogy, it's like, a lot of times you're looking at something that's been pasted onto a green screen. And then with the original trilogy, obviously, because they didn't have that technology, I think it feels a little more intimate sometimes because the movie had to be shot that way. More confined scenery, stuff that just felt a bit more personal as opposed to...
It felt more realistic.
Yeah, and the prequels, I think, have a bit more of like a sterile feel to them. You can just kind of... It hits me that way.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I think that the reason that people had so much of a problem with George Lucas going from so much practical to CGI is because they were so used to the practical and the claymation, which made it look more realistic.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but those AT-ATs, they're herky jerky. They don't look that. They look like toys to me.
Yeah, they look like toys.
They look like toys. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Also, a lot of people that criticize Lucas, like what I said with the whole CGI thing, people got so endeared to the OT, like they had like over a decade to get acquainted with them and how they looked. So I imagine, Phantom Menace was very practical, but when he went to full CGI and people with like years and years of exposure made them like sour on the effects a little bit. Well, I think some people were just intent on disliking it after Phantom Menace for whatever reason. They wanted to overemphasize how oh my god, look at how much CG there is in this one, guys. Oh, this is bad. You should hate it. Look how it's atrocious. It looks really bad. That's
the problem I think most people have with it. It's because it went from practical to CGI. And people were ready for that.
Like people, I had everything in Plinkett though. They'll show these long, critical, very well received reviews of the prequels that people just prequel haters will just flock to, right? And they'll show footage of documentaries, very selective footage of documentaries, 3-hour-long documentaries, showing people taking George Lucas's words out of context and showing people's demeanors around George and only they pass it off as fact, but they just honestly, it's just speculation. You don't know what situation they're in, and sometimes they have worrying looks on their face. What they don't show though is how people. Here's the thing: people want to say Rian Johnson was ballsy for taking Star Wars in a new direction. People want to say George Lucas is a heartless businessman who wanted to shield toys all over his movie, which is never been proven. That's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't agree with
at the
that.
same time, they won't applaud George Lucas for taking probably one of the biggest risks with Star Wars and pushing special effects to its limits with Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, even though at that time that level of like CG had never even been attempted. Like that was like you know, new precedent. That was like new ground that we're treading right there, and that was with Star Wars.
Actually, I would agree with that. So my theory is that when the prequels came out, when Episode 3 came out, people were very used to the CGI because obviously most movies at that time were CGI. They were starting to integrate that more and more. So I think people were starting to get used to that. So my theory is that when Disney wanted to do less CGI and more practical, I think that hurt them in a way because it kind of dumbs down.
I think they were honestly pandering to prequel haters, and a lot of the dialogue.
They were.
That's what I didn't like about it. I think that they could have done more CGI. Like now, obviously the bombers and shit like that, but in Force Awakens, the actual CGI scenes when Poe Dameron and the X-wings start coming into Maz Kanata's castle, that was actually really well done. I actually enjoyed that because it added that suspense, like, oh shit, it's about to go down.
I'll disagree on that real quick.
Yeah, I think that them going more towards practical, like, you know, because I mean, almost everything in The Last Jedi was practical. Every character, things like that, except for maybe a couple, or like the space battles, you know, and the space chase. It was all CGI. I think that, you know, people have grown accustomed to CGI now because look at Avengers or look at Marvel.
It depends on how you use it. I mean,
You're saying if the prequels came out now, people would be a bit more forgiving in that aspect.
Exactly, because CGI is more of a custom.
Well, not only that, they would look better.
Yeah, because CGI,
I mean, fine just the way they are. Mostly, there's a couple that are just like but for the mostly, like the Battle of Geonosis still looks great.
I love that fucking part of the movie. That looks so good. Like, especially for when CGI was first coming out. That is so well done. It's clean. There's not a lot of motion blur and things like that. Especially when the ship falls down and the sand implodes on everything. It's very clean. The clones look real. The droids look real. The blasters look real. Things like that.
I think that might be a part of it, though, is that people have a problem with how clean the prequels look.
Well, guys. Some of those ships were practical models. Some of those ships were practical models in the Battle of Geonosis.
That's true, but I think it's that people have gotten so used to CGI because it's advanced so far that now that Disney is going more, we want Star Wars fans love practical effects. That Star Wars fans are getting kind of annoyed with it because we want that futuristic CGI that we're used to. Like, look at Thanos. Thanos looks pretty fucking real in my opinion. He looks really good.
Do you want to know what I think the greatest achievement in CGI history is?
What's that?
Yoda being able to fight.
I can agree with that. Yes, in episode 2,
the Clones documentary and the level of detail into Yoda.
Revenge of the Sith Yoda. Revenge of the Sith Yoda looks pretty good.
He's so terrible.
Attack of the Clones Yoda too. Attack of the Clones Yoda.
Not a fan.
A lot of people like to shit on Attack of the Clones Yoda, and I cannot for the life of me figure out why. Because
I don't understand that either. Like, I think now this is just my opinion. I think the battle with him and Count Dooku.
Don't say it's just your opinion. If you shouldn't have to say that. Go.
Yeah. So for me, the Yoda and Count Dooku thing, the battle they have with the lightsabers, I actually like that. Obviously, you know, I'm not 30 yet. I grew up with the prequel trilogy. You know, when I saw that, I actually enjoyed that because the CGI felt really good. It felt like something that Yoda would do because Yoda is not tall. He's short. He's got to use the Force to his advantage. And what does he do? He twirls around like a crazy maniac to throw off his enemy. I actually enjoyed that. I thought that was really good. The Force pushing stuff, that was boring to me. But once Yoda lit up his lightsaber, I was like, oh shit, it's fucking on.
I agree mostly. Like what I'm getting at is with Yoda, people like to shit on the fact that he's doing barrel rolls in the air. People like to shit on the fact that he used the lightsaber at all. It's like people from the OT are like, you're missing the point of Yoda. Yoda's supposed to be a wise master. He's supposed to know better than fighting. He's supposed to be like really powerful with the Force and whatnot. But what they're missing from that whole scene is that he tried using the Force.
Exactly. My theory is,
and then Duke is like, fuck it, we're taking it into close quarters. And then Yoda pulls out his lightsaber.
That's what I like about it.
And he engages in close quarters combat. And he flips and jumps around like that because it's practical for his size. So, I mean, like, it makes... Like, when I watched that, I had no problems with it because it just made sense.
Yeah, you can't just stand still.
Yeah, I didn't have problems with that either. Exactly. I felt that...
Oh,
go ahead, Ricky. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, Angus, did you have something to say a little bit ago? You're trying to...
Yeah. Back on the Jar Jar thing. From what I've read, like a year or two ago when Force Awakens was big, Rogue One was coming out, I saw this Star Wars magazine in Target, I think, and it was talking to suggestions like, oh, how should you watch the movies? Like, what order should you watch them? There's all sorts of weird orders.
The machete orders.
Outside of the, watch the original, then the prequels, or vice versa, watch them chronologically. It was weird shit. Anyway, there's a little thing with Mod Best saying that, like, he never expected the outrage with people. I was just reading about this. Apparently, Michael Jackson was actually someone that they wanted to cast for Jar Jar, but he wanted to do more prosthetics.
That's true. That
would have been great. Mr. Jar Jar Binks.
Anyway, I think people extrapolate the racism because there's like multiple. It's not just Jar Jar; it's like multiple things that people can at least argue. The Nemoidians are like a Japanese kind of stand-in with their voices. You know, it sounds like Asian Americans, and then you have Watto is the money-hungry gambler, and he has the big nose, which is like a Jew stereotype. And so, like, if you're looking for that, or if you're like always cognizant of like racism in film or something, then it's going to stick out to you even when it's not there. Just like for us. Regardless of how they would sell Captain Marvel, after that first trailer, we're already like jaded to the industry with SJW-isms in film. So I think that's what happened with Episode 1.
I actually agree with you on that, Angus. I think when George Lucas was creating his Star Wars, when I heard these characters have their voices, I never thought of a certain race, right? Jew, black, Asian, whatever.
It's like how should
I just felt that that's how the actual alien species talked.
Yeah.
There was no.
I agree.
But like you said, Captain Marvel, it's just that we've been shit on and thrown so much SJW politics that it's at the point where we can see past what they're trying to put in front of us. We know exactly what they're doing. George Lucas, I feel like he didn't. When he actually made those characters have those voices, like Jar Jar having the Jamaican accent, or characters having like certain voices, it didn't feel like it was like, oh, that's making fun of Jews, that's making fun of blacks, that's making fun of Asians. It didn't feel like that. It felt like, okay, this is how this alien species sounds. I'm cool with it. That's just how they sound. But now it's, it has to be a certain way to where we can all see past it and we don't enjoy it because we know exactly what they're doing.
Yeah. So I'm reading the wiki page about Jar Jar Binks and stuff, and it's saying that this guy, Joe Morgenstern of the Wall Street Journal, described Jar Jar as a Rastafarian Stepin Fetchit. I don't know who that is, but I was looking into the guy, Joe Morgenstern, and he's been a critic since like the late 50s, early 60s.
He's a big critic. Yeah, I've heard of
way
him.
back.
Yeah, and part of his background is theater and music criticism since the 60s. So it kind of makes sense that he would take this artistic angle, maybe an over analytical angle, and be like, oh wow, it makes sense when you go to school and you like I'm in school right now, and you become over cognizant of this stuff and you start seeing it. It's kind of like looking for Bigfoot. You have an image in your head, so now you're looking for it in the shadows.
Exactly. Now, I know that reviewer you're talking about. He's a big, like you said, he's a big art, movie, and music buff. He actually reviewed a lot of the ska music that was coming out of Jamaica. So I can see why he interpreted Jar Jar Binks as a Jamaican because of that strict accent he had. But that's, you know, when I was younger, I didn't feel that way. I didn't feel like Jar Jar Binks was, oh, it's just some black guy with a Jamaican accent. I didn't feel that.
Well, when I hear Jamaican people talk, I don't think they sound like Jar Jar Binks.
Exactly.
Vice versa.
I
don't think they really sound alike at all. I mean, maybe there's some inspiration there, but I don't think that he has a Rastafarian accent or whatever you want to call it, Jamaican accent.
Yeah, I don't either.
Hit me that way.
I don't feel that. I was in my teenage years when that started to come out. I don't feel that way still about Jar Jar Binks.
Yeah, like if someone asked you to do an impression of a Jamaican person, you wouldn't accidentally do a Jar Jar Binks impression.
Exactly. You would do more of a Bob Marley, Ziggy Marley kind of thing. If people said, oh, do Jar Jar Binks, you'd be like, oh, Mr. Jar Jar Binks. Like, it doesn't come up as Jamaican.
Right. I don't think people in Jamaica sound like that.
Guys, I got to head off. I got to get back to work. I'm working on a big video, so...
nice to talk to you, Anomaly, finally.
Yeah, take care, Anomaly. Take care, man.
Do you want to plug it or anything?
Guys. This is great. I'll come and do it again. See you later.
Nice to meet you, man. Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
Yeah, but I agree. Like, that... But you know what's funny to me is that they attack all these things now, these SJWs, like Charlie Brown, Rudolph. You know, I saw one today that should Santa be considered a woman or a non-binary character? It's like, there's no point to that because when people think of something, they think of one certain thing, right? It's not based on race or gender. They just know Santa Claus is a big fat ass motherfucker with a beard and he wears a red suit. He has reindeer pulling a sleigh. It's not offensive unless, you know, obviously you don't celebrate Christmas. But it's just, there's things about today that they chew apart and stuff, but they don't attack Star Wars, the prequels, like they should be. If they're really concerned about how the way people talk or the way people are perceived or alien species in these movies are perceived, they would attack the prequels more. But they refuse to, right? Like, they don't go after it like they should if they really were offended by it, because Disney owns it and they're not going to burn their bridges with Disney. That's the issue. It's whatever the company is okay with or what it's promoting, they won't attack it. But unless the company that they're okay with or is paying them money promotes it, they will destroy it and make it look like it's the most racist, bigoted, sexist thing in the world.
That's why they're attacking. Yeah, that's why they're attacking the legacy of Stan Lee, because they want Marvel to become more SJW.
It annoys me, like the fact that they turned Thor into a female, Wolverine into a female, and Iron Man into a female. I get.
Have you guys seen anything about this new thing that's going on with Marvel? I don't know the details. Maybe.
Oh, you're talking about the Captain Marvel holding Thor's hammer?
No, not that. These little ads have been running where it's like, you know, for instance, where did the Fantastic Four really get their powers from? And then it's like hashtag Marvel history destroyed or something like that. And it's
that's what I don't like about all these people that have been hired into Marvel. That's why I don't read comics anymore. Like, I still collect Star Wars comics and Star Wars toys and things like that. You know, my girlfriend's a giant Spider-Man fan and a giant Batman fan. I'm a huge Batman fan from the animated series, but I refuse to read what they come out with now because it's just, they're destroying the platform that it was built upon, and they're just throwing it away. That's my issue with it. They take what is popular and good and they shit all over it and make it something that no one wants to buy, and that's why their comics are shit.
That and constant reboots and renumberings, that drives me nuts. He's a comic book
I don't know if you guys have actually watched. If you guys watch Yellow Flash comics, he was actually. I haven't watched his video yet, but he talked about the new Miles Morales. Yeah, he's starting to talk about the new Miles Morales Spider-Man, where he's defending immigration and stuff like that. It's like, we don't care about that. Just, I don't care how you get to this country. Just if you want a better life, that's your choice. But don't shove it in our face, because that's what we don't want. That's why your shit doesn't sell.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's what it's become with Star Wars. No one cares about Rey. No one cares about fucking Poe. No one cares about Finn. Even though I'm a fucking Darth Tico, no one gives a fuck about Darth Tico. Everyone wishes that she fucking died in the last movie. Maybe she should have been on that bomber that exploded, whatever. But no one cares anymore. That's the issue. They're trying to force it down our throats, and we don't want to buy it.
Yep. Well, let's shift over to different topics. Christmas. You guys all getting ready for the holidays?
Yeah.
I'm the Grinch in my girlfriend's eyes. She's here right now, too. She's looking at me with the sourpuss face, like, you Grinch.
Yep. Well, you Super Divorce, you holiday man?
Oh, yeah, I love it. I was just out shopping earlier today. I've had most of my shopping done for, I don't know, probably several weeks now. Got everything wrapped. I've just got a few more things I need to buy, but I'm really on top of it this year, which is not normal. Normally I'm wrapping stuff like the night before and it's a mad dash, but yeah, feeling good about this year.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm like my family, my mom's like tired of Christmas. She is in her 70s now. My sister hates the she's a big lefty. She hates the I can't say I blame her. She hates the over commercialization of Christmas. I'm like the last one keeping the holiday cheer alive in my family. Like, I'm the last one to go out and buy a tree, put up decorations and stuff. So, I mean, it's okay. I'll probably end up getting like gift cards from them again. It's like they give me, like, when it comes to Christmas, they'll give me like a $20 gift card, and I'll give them something that's like 5 times more valuable than that. But it's all good. I make enough money as it is, so I really don't need anything.
Buy everyone old school Star Wars Blackster stuff. They'll be rich in the future. That's a college degree right there. Buy them a Thrawn, have them sell it in 10 years. They're sitting on like 2 Gs.
Have you guys seen...
Yeah. Oh, go. All right. Go. Sorry, go.
Oh, no problem. I was going to ask if anyone's seen these Disney toy box Star Wars figures that just came out. I saw a bunch of
not 3 cents a figure right now, or
what's that?
Not the new ones, but I have seen them before.
Toy box. Why does that sound so familiar to me?
Are these like 3 cents figures? They can't get rid of stores.
No, these are they're like brand new. I think they've also got a line of Marvel and then some from Disney movies. I saw them at the Disney store earlier today, but I think they're based on what's the new animated stuff they're doing with the original trilogy.
The Galaxies of Adventure.
Yeah, I think they're based on those designs.
Yeah, I just gotta say this. That whole they're retelling the story of Star Wars for little kids. I think it's totally a stupid, dumb concept.
I think it's unnecessary.
Are you guys talking about
unnecessary. Just wait till they're 6 and show them the damn movie. You don't have to show them this kiddified version of it.
I would say that the animation style looks a million times better than Forces of Destiny. I don't know if you guys have watched any of those.
Oh, yeah, I've seen those.
Those are horrible.
Oh, yeah, they're awful.
Now, you guys are talking about the Galaxy of Adventures, correct?
Yeah.
Now, my only problem with that is that Harrison Ford is no longer Han Solo.
Okay.
He is the Alden Ehrenreich Han Solo now. If you pay close attention, he's Solo, not Han Solo.
I actually had an argument with someone earlier today. I'll see what you guys think about this. I saw that someone had posted earlier about Solo, and you know, I briefly mentioned the fact that I thought that Alden Ehrenreich was just off the mark and did not live up to the performance given by Harrison Ford. And this person commented back, and they said that was the idea. And they're like, well, you don't understand. If you have a problem with this, then you don't understand what they were trying to do. They were trying to create a new character here. And I was like, I don't buy that. I don't think that's true.
But that makes no sense. You're supposed to build on the developed character and recreate them, not throw away what you had and create something new, because no one's going to buy that.
Right. I mean, if that were the case, then they would have just created a new character, given him a different name, and then made a movie about that guy. It's like you were trying to tell Han Solo's origin story, and you just did a really bad job. You know, I don't see how people can defend his performance in that movie. I just don't think it's anywhere close to what Harrison Ford did, and I don't believe that they were intentionally trying to avoid the Harrison Ford performance. You know, it seemed like Alden Ehrenreich was trying to get there, and he just couldn't pull it off. You know.
So my girlfriend was just telling me right now, she liked it as a movie. She just doesn't like it relating to Star Wars. It doesn't relate.
That's the best way you could describe Solo.
Exactly.
If it was not a Star Wars movie, it would be an okay, even a good movie. But as
I agree.
Star Wars,
it would be a B+.
It fails as a Star Wars movie. Yeah,
I agree.
I knew this was going to fail when I saw the commercial during the Super Bowl, because they had the tentacle monster from freaking Hellboy.
You mean the Sarlacc pit in space? The space?
Yeah, it's just a Hellboy clone. I'm like, man, they're ripping off Hellboy.
The space Sarlacc.
Whatever that thing was called.
With that commercial.
Yeah, I'm a huge Star Wars geek, and I don't even know what that thing was called. It was created for the movie.
Yeah,
I mean, there are a bunch of space creatures and you got the worm from Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah,
you got
asteroids and stuff. Yeah,
you got Minox. You have these, and you have these space dragons. You have
the Raftars.
The Raftars. Yeah.
But
in Rebels, you got the Purgles, but I don't know what that thing was called in Solo.
Yeah, there's no name to it as of right now. I still don't know the name of it.
They still don't have it. They still don't have a name for it.
It's a Spoctopus.
I call it the space Sparlac, the Sparlac.
It's a Spoctopus.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull a kendo slice and be like the Sparlac.
The Sparlac, the space Sarlacc. Yeah.
Yep. But yeah, so Angus, how's your Christmas stuff going?
I mean, my mom's coming up Sunday. I'm going to Indy to watch hopefully the Colts kick some cow baby ass. I hate the Cowboys. So I'm looking forward to that. But for Christmas, I mean, I'll probably get roped into fucking midnight mass, which is fine. Like, it's pretty, but I'm an atheist, so there's not really any reward spiritually in going. It's just pleasing my mom for a day. I'm like, okay, you got me tickets, so I'll go fucking midnight mass. Fine. At least I'll smell some incense. Hopefully, I always love the frankincense and myrrh. But no, I'm kind of broke this year, so luckily I have toys from selling on eBay. So I got toys for my kids from that. But I don't know. I'm just not once you have kids and you're worried about bills and stuff and keeping a roof over their head, like you quit caring about Christmas on that angle. You just want it to be good for them, but it kind of sucks you dry. I think at least being 26 now and 2 kids, like I don't have that holiday cheer.
I gotcha. Yeah, this year, so like the last couple of years, I would give my nieces and nephews 10 gifts each because I had 2 jobs at the time. Now I'm not doing that shit anymore. They don't let them. They don't let the kids take control of their own things. They let them all share it with each other without letting them decide that. So none of them has any responsibility for a toy. So by the next year, it's already destroyed or lost. Fuck that.
See, that's why I don't buy my nephew toys. I'm waiting until he gets a little older, and I'm gonna buy him collectible shit. So when he goes to college, he can sell them and have an actual college degree. That's how I look at his toys.
Right. Well, that's a good way to do it.
Yeah. See, I'm under this wonderful financial plan. It's called not having a wife and kids. So I'm doing quite all right, and I have a whole lot less worries too. So
that's a good way to do it.
yeah,
it's much more chill this year. Do you guys have any favorite or nostalgic Christmas movies you guys like watching around this time, or holiday movies?
Oh
yeah,
Christmas Vacation.
Yeah, Christmas for me. Christmas Vacation, March of the Wooden Soldiers, A Christmas Story. There's
How
like
about
5 or
Scrooged?
6. Yeah, Scrooged. Yeah, a couple of. There's like half a dozen versions of the Christmas Carol I like to watch too. So
my favorite Christmas movie is watching Uncle Eddie drain his shitter into the sewage.
Christmas Vacation. Yeah.
Clark's tirade at the end of that movie is just it's one of the best. Yeah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Tylenol.
Hallelujah. And holy shit.
And you guys watch the Christmas Chronicles yet?
Is that with what's his name?
Kurt Russell?
Yeah.
Kurt Russell, that's what it is.
Yeah, I didn't think it was too bad.
I heard it's like watching Kurt Russell be Santa Claus.
That's a great way of putting it, yeah.
That sounds interesting. I actually just watched Wyatt Earp last night with him as Wyatt Earp. So
yeah, I think it's worth watching. It was fun.
I'm still stuck on the Wyatt Earp scene where he's like, no! It's all slow moving. Everything, that's great. So funny.
I gotcha. What do you guys think of the? So we'll bring this one up. Actually, Angus and I were going to wait to bring this up a different time, but I'm one of the ones who likes the Christmas Story, and Angus does not like it at all. What do you guys think about Christmas Story?
Are you talking about with like Ralphie and stuff, where he wants to Red Ryder?
Ralphie.
Yeah, the fucking the BB gun and all that.
Yeah, the Red Ryder beaver gun with the compass and the thing that tells the time. I grew up on that.
Yeah, I'd say it's a classic. It's not my favorite Christmas movie, but I think it's good.
My opinion is, if you like the first one, don't watch the second one.
Yeah, they made like 3 Christmas stories, and they're horrible.
Yeah, the kid has different colored hair. He's a brown-haired kid instead of blonde-haired kid. Doesn't have glasses.
Did you guys ever see the horror movie made by the guy who made A Christmas Story?
What's it called?
You made a horror movie?
Black Christmas.
Nope.
I have the original.
I've heard of it, but I never seen it, and I never saw the remake either.
Yeah, the remake's awful. The remake is really, really bad. It's worth watching just to compare it to the old one, because the old one's actually really good. Like, some people consider it one. Well, I mean, it predates Halloween, and I'd say it falls into the slasher genre. But the guy who plays Nancy's dad in A Nightmare on Elm Street, he's in it. And then who else? Margot Kidder is in Black Christmas.
Lois Lane.
Yeah. She plays just like a foul-mouthed, just out of her mind, drunk college student, and it's pretty entertaining. It's actually a really good, solid movie. Just outside of being a horror movie, it's a really good film.
In some parts of it was also known as Silent Night, Deadly Night. I think that was the second release title, whatever. Some parts of the world it's called that. It's the same movie.
Silent Night, Deadly Night. I thought that was a different one.
No, it's the same movie. It's the same movie. Just they changed the title. How they sometimes do that.
Yeah.
I'm still mad that they made Tales from the Hood 2 a pile of SJW garbage. So, I grew up on Tales from the Hood. So, until they correct that mistake, I've kind of branched off from horror movies because they're making them all woke and crap.
Yeah, maybe. I'm surprised you're not saying that much on this.
Oh, no, I was letting everyone go before I discuss why I hate it.
Okay. Go ahead, man.
All right. So sit back, people. I plan to actually do a video. Maybe I'll probably do something like Rookie, where he did the I haven't seen these classics. I'll probably do one where it's I fucking hate these classics. And Christmas Story is one of them. Okay, so I Same with Star Wars. I was not raised with a lot of classic movies. My mom never raised me with them for some reason. Besides maybe a few random ones. For some reason, she's got a kick for like John Wayne and like Clint Eastwood. She kind of likes westerns, but even that she never like indoctrinated me with. And so with Christmas Story, never saw it till like 3 years ago. And I knew it was classic. I saw trailers for it and stuff on like ABC Family reruns and stuff, but I never sat down and watched it. So I finally checked it out and I watched it in its entirety. And I'm like, I don't get what's funny about it. Yeah, he's obsessed with the BB gun, etc. He gets, the lamp. They go to eat Chinese because only the Chinese don't celebrate Christmas. Ha ha ha! Like it's just dry. There's nothing funny about it, and I'm not indoctrinated with it, and that's
right.
the thing. Okay, so like when you look at
it's dry humor.
I compare this with the NFL. If you look at early football, and you could probably look at like baseball as well and basketball, but look, the NFL is what I know. So the 60s, 70s when football really started getting big professional following on TV, because before it was college, like Notre Dame and stuff. And they would only want to show the premier teams that make you money. And so it would be the Steelers and the Cowboys, like that was the 70s. And, the Vikings and probably the Rams for some other like noteworthy ones. And so I've met people who grew up in that era. They're from Alabama or they're from California, but their favorite teams are the Cowboys and the Steelers. So I'm like, you're not even from there. Like, what's your association? It's like, well, that's what I saw on TV was like, the stars and the black and gold Steelers. And so I feel that like back then, some of these movies like Christmas Vacation, Christmas Story, Groundhog Day or whatever, movies like this, these classics, I think they really rely on family nostalgia and like the reruns that they keep pushing. And so like if you're someone like me who is genuinely interested and hasn't been in culture with it and you come into it, it's going to let you down because you don't have that warm fuzzy feeling from your family growing up watching it. And so that's like the block I have.
Yeah. I got a question for you, Angus. Have you ever seen the movie Dutch?
Movie what?
Dutch.
That's with Ed O'Neill, right? It's with Ed O'Neill?
No.
Yes. So Dutch it's kind of like, it's not a Christmas movie, it's a Thanksgiving movie. But if you wanted something that's more like comedic, that gets you into the kind of like festive spirit, Dutch is pretty good. Like, it doesn't try to oversell itself. It's just some lady's boyfriend who goes and picks up her, pain in the ass kid, and he takes him across country, and halfway across the country, they have to hitchhike, and he makes his life miserable, and it's a great movie.
Angus,
I'm looking at it right now. Yeah, I was looking at Wikipedia.
Yeah,
I'll try to find it.
Yeah, I never saw that movie. I know of it. I know it starred Ed O'Neill, but I never saw it.
Yeah, Dutch is one of my favorite Thanksgiving movies. It's not a Christmas movie because different holiday, but it's got a good story to it that mother's boyfriend and son don't get along. They have to go across the country with each other. They learn to bond. Happy ending. Yada yada yada. But it doesn't make it feel like that. It just goes with the punches. Also, like Plane, Trains, and Automobiles. I don't know if you've ever seen that with John Candy and Martin Stewart. Or wait,
Martin. No, Martin. Wasn't it?
Oh yeah,
Martin
I saw it. Martin. Steve Martin.
Steve Martin. Thank you.
Steve Martin. Yeah, Steve Martin. Yeah.
Yeah, I just watched that one recently. I didn't hate it, but I definitely won't own it. It's not worth owning to me. It's well made, but it's just like for me, comedy really doesn't age well. So like stuff that I do find funny, I don't expect my son to enjoy unless like we enculturate it with him. But
what do you think are some comedies that have aged really well?
Oh man,
Jane, Silent Bob.
I would say like the sports comedies, like Happy Gilmore, Waterboy. But besides the fact that 90s comedy definitely doesn't work in like SJW culture. There's always something problematic about it.
Yeah.
today. So like in that sense, it doesn't age well. In general, I think comedy doesn't age well in general. Like I try to watch Mel Brooks's. I try to watch a couple. I watched Blazing Saddles. It was okay. Like I like racist humor, and I appreciate his angle about PC culture, but I don't find it that funny just because it's dated and it's safe today. If you didn't grow up with it. But I try to watch Robin Hood Men in Tights, and I watched like 20 minutes, and I'm like, this is cringeworthy. I can't.
Oh, dude, it gets so much better. That's one of my favorite Mel Brooks movies.
Like Angus, Mel Brooks is a comedy genius. I mean, how could you be dissing him like that?
That's the point of Mel Brooks.
Oh god, Spaceballs! I chuckled, like I lightly chuckled at the long spaceship joke to start the movie, and then my wife, she like said my name, and I turned around, and I realized my mouth was open the whole time watching Spaceballs because it was so not funny to me.
Have you ever checked out like Monty Python and stuff, like Life of Brian or
no, awful. I can't see comedy. Like never come to me for comedy.
What kind of comedy do you like? Like stoner comedy? What gets you off?
See, my first date with my wife was Hot Rod. And then The Office.
Like
I saw The Office. I saw The Office in Afghanistan, and I didn't like it. But she made me watch more of it when I got back to America, and it hooked me. And I've watched it like 4 times now.
How about Office Space?
No, I don't like Office Space.
You don't like Office Space? Wow.
That's blasphemy, Angus. That's blasphemy.
See, this is why you can trust me though, because. Like all these movies you're saying are like critically, acclaimed. Everyone loves them. I'm telling you genuinely, I've tried to like them and I hate them.
The Office was not critically acclaimed.
That's fine.
Office Space wasn't.
If you come to now it is. If you come to me, you're going to get a genuine opinion. That's what I hate about like these shill like Chris Stuckman. When he'll rip a movie apart, he'll shit all over the prequels and Transformers. I know they're different levels of, but you watch his stuff and he tears it apart. He'll say like, "Oh, 50 Shades of Grey looks so beautiful film wise," but it's like a beautiful film about shit. And yet he's like, Fast and Furious is a fun movie, and it's like, oh, I see your game now. And so you're never gonna get that from me. You're never gonna get me to shill for something. Even if I like it, I'll tell you, like, yeah, I love it, but it's not a great movie. So that's the genuineness you're going to get from me. And that's why I do not hide the fact that I hate some of these classic comedies.
That's why I actually subscribe to your channel, because I like your reviews. I like that you're not just kissing the creator's ass and stuff. But I think nowadays stuff has gotten to where you have to think a certain way about it. I think if you go back and watch Monty Python stuff or... even some Kevin Smith stuff, like, Clerks 2, Jay and Silent Bob. What was it, babe? She said, don't watch The Secret to Life with your kids, which I don't remember that movie. But, I think people have gotten to the point with, like, the MCU and Star Wars and stuff like that. The people had to take movies so seriously that when people watch comedies, they can't laugh as much as they should because they think they have to take it seriously. So that's why I like movies like, Life of Brian, The Holy Grail, because it's stupid slapstick. It's not supposed to make sense. It's supposed to be really stupid to make you laugh because you're not supposed to take it seriously.
Like the banging the coconuts to be a horse. It's not supposed to be.
Yeah, no.
When they think Brian's the Messiah and he gets crucified and they all end the movie with a song. Like, that is hilarious.
Always look God.
Yeah.
You're telling me this stuff. When there's the coconuts.
Yeah.
The coconuts is funny.
Well, one at a time. I can't understand what anybody's saying. One at a time.
Angus, in The Life of Brian, the best part, in my opinion, is the very final scene. All of them get crucified, and to end the movie, the best way to do it when you're crucified is to sing a song, and it's called The Bright Side of Life. And the best lyric in it is, "Life's a piece of shit when you look at it." It's a great movie. You just gotta turn your brain off.
No, see, I get that, and like I love Family Guy. I still watch Family Guy and love it, and I know that Mel Brooks is clearly inspiration for some of his wackiness, but it just translates better to me. Like I see little things like the coconut thing. I'm like, okay, that's funny. And then I watch the rest of the movie and I'm just like bored to tears.
Oh my God.
Like I appreciate odd angle humor. I really do, but I just don't get it from those movies. I feel that they are overhyped.
Have you seen The Life of Brian yet, Angus?
I watched. Which one is the one with the coconuts?
That's the Holy Grail. Life of Brian
Okay,
is
I've watched Holy Grail. I've tried to watch, I think, like the first 5 minutes of. I didn't have time to watch the Grail when I checked it out. Or sorry, The Life of Brian.
Yeah, The Life of Brian is pretty funny because one of the characters, he's like basically a high up politician, and his best friend is named Biggest Dickus. just listen to him say Biggest Dickus over and over again. You're gonna laugh. I promise you.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of agree with Angus on some of this stuff, but I'm one that liked Spaceballs and some of the other ones. I loved Holy Grail, but I also didn't like The Big Lebowski, Men in Tights. There's a lot that I still don't. I'm like, what?
You're breaking my heart.
Well, okay, so you're a Lebowski defender?
I love The Big Lebowski.
Why? Like, why?
When John Goodman pulls the gun on that pacifist and says "Market 0," that shit is hilarious.
Well, so to me, there was maybe 2 or 3 funny parts, and that's when they didn't say any lines. I don't care about anything that's happening. I don't think any of the stuff about him drinking is funny. I don't think him is funny. The dude, I don't care at all. Them bowling, I don't. There's nothing. I don't understand why people are surprised that people don't like it. That few people don't like it. I mean, I don't get why everybody collectively loves it. It's just.
I think it's just a good
that's fine if you don't like it. I mean, there's no problem with not liking a.
I know, but it's like
something they consider pop culture. It just depends on, how you look at the movie. That's how I think of it. Like Jay and Silent Bob is one of my favorite movies because Jason Mewes is one of the funniest people I've ever met. So
I don't think Jay and Silent Bob is funny to anyone who's not seen the other Kevin Smith movies. That whole movie is like a giant inside joke. So I loved it the first time I saw it, but if you were to sit down and watch that movie with people who'd never seen the other Kevin Smith films, I feel like they'd just be totally lost.
Yeah, that's my first Kevin Smith film, and I'm like, okay, they like Star Wars, and they got Mark Hamill in it, and they got Ben Affleck and shit, but I'm like, whatever. I don't like Kevin Smith.
If you've seen all the other movies before that, it's like just a person appearing on the screen is funny in certain spots because you've seen them before in another movie. Just like, bit characters and things like that. People you haven't seen in the movie since, 10 years ago. Well, I think that was what was kind of fun about it. It was almost like a big crossover movie for all of his films.
So I don't know. To me, I see crossover, or I see like references to stuff all the time and everything now. So if you show me The Big Lebowski and there's actors I recognize or something, it doesn't mean anything. It's just I know them. Yeah, I've seen all of them before. Okay. And
yeah, but I'm talking about like in the Kevin Smith universe, there are characters who appear in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. For instance, Brody from Mallrats and Banky's in there from Chasing Amy. Yep. It's like all these characters. Yeah.
Well, I haven't seen too many of those films, but
that's the thing. It's nowadays comedies are one movie, and it's funny or it's not funny. Back in the in the 90s and stuff, or the early 2000s, comedies kind of had like other movies that they related to or had like little quips from. That you're like, oh, that makes sense. Like, I fucking love that movie. It's little things like that. That's what Clerks 2 was all about too. Like Jay and Silent Bob was out, and then Clerks 2 came out, and it continued a movie that was out before that, plus Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Okay, but why do people like The Big Lebowski? It's my question. It's just like that, like specifically, like other movies, I can see more explanations as to why people really like it, but they're just like, he's the dude and stuff.
See, my theory is for The Big Lebowski is you have to shut off your brain and just enjoy the stupidity and kind of lackluster writing of that movie.
Well, also, I think John Goodman just came off of Roseanne too. That probably had a lot to do with it. It's because he was in that movie, The Big Lebowski.
I just enjoy the performances in that movie. I think if you go into it expecting like a gut buster or something, then you're gonna get to the end of it and be like, I didn't laugh out loud one time. For a lot of people, I mean, I'm not the type of person who cracks up throughout most comedies, even the ones that I like a lot. There are certain comedy films that I just like watching because I like watching the movie. I like the characters. That's kind of how it is with Lebowski for me. I've never found it to be like one of the funniest movies of all time. I just watched it and I was like, oh, I had fun watching that movie. I'd watch it again. I'm not like the Lebowski fanboy that some people are, but I don't know why you would actively dislike it.
Well, it's like, I guess whenever because I watched it once for cinema class, and every time before I watched it, everybody said, "Oh, you'll love The Big Lebowski. It's the best movie ever. It's one of the best. It's really awesome. It's cool. You'll love it." And I watch it, and I'm just, for the life of me, trying to pay attention, trying to care. I'm trying to enjoy it, and I'm just not really enjoying it. The only funny thing that I saw was they like dunked him in the toilet, and he just puts his sunglasses back on. I was like, yeah, that's kind of funny.
I consider Big Lebowski, like, you got to look at it like the Rocky Horror Picture Show. One of those kind of like.
I've never seen that either, so I don't know what.
Yeah, so it's like, think of things like The Room or the Rocky Horror Picture Show. It's just one of those movies that people are nostalgic about. But if you were to watch them and just be like, oh, well, I'm just watching this to watch it, I'm a big Rocky Horror fan. I grew up with that movie. Except that's in my opinion, it's Tim Curry's best work. So, I love that movie for Tim Curry and the character he plays in it. Same with like Jeff Bridges or John Goodman. They're just playing the character that they were written as. It's more low budget comedy. You kind of just got to look past all the crap and just appreciate it for the the quirkiness that it is.
I seen it years ago, and to me, it's, although some of the scenes are funny, the fact that it's a musical, I find it. I just hate musicals. So
yeah, I mean, you got to be a musical guy well, that's the thing. Yeah. To appreciate Rocky Horror Picture Show, you have to have especially if you were to watch it nowadays, it would be very cringy to people nowadays.
I disagree.
Watch it, it's good.
I disagree. I bought it for our collection for my wife, and I'm like, all right, I'll finally sit down and watch this cult classic musical. And I sat down and watched it. I'm like, okay, it's not bad. It's a weird plot. He's like a double tranny or something. I don't know. He's a Jeremy
transsexual scientist from Transylvania.
Transsexual transvestite from Transylvania.
It's a funny alliteration shit. It's clever, and you got Meatloaf in it. It's like, wow, okay.
Yeah, I'm not
it's
bashing
a fun movie.
I'm not bashing the gays, but like a lot of gay people, it's their like most favorite movie of all time, and that's fine.
Here's the thing.
I just hate musicals, and I think the same people who made that movie made Little Shop of Horrors. I hate that movie too.
My first musical I saw was Mamma Mia. So I
hate Mamma Mia. There you go. Mamma Mia is as straight as possible. I hate that movie too.
Hey, the best musical, no joke. One of my favorite movies is Wizard of Oz. It is classic, can't be beat. Michael Jackson couldn't top it.
Yeah, but that plays more like a movie in a way. That's
Oz, or are we talking the Wizard of Oz?
I think he's talking about the film.
The 1938 Wizard of Oz.
Oh, okay. So the original Wizard of Oz, not the all black cast.
Actually, the original, the 1920 silent version, but yeah.
With Dorothy, Tin Man, all that stuff.
Yeah. Hey, Rookie. I'm gonna mute my mic. My parents just got in, so I gotta help them bring in their stuff. I'll be right back.
Okay, well, we're gonna be closing out soon. Probably. All right.
That's fine.
All right. So for winding up, any last things you guys want to say? Starting with SuperDivorce.
Just want to say thanks for having me on tonight. Thanks for the fun chat and discussions, and I did have one video that I just posted last night that's that I wanted to mention. that's pretty different from anything I've ever done before. I don't know if you guys have ever gotten these like huge flyers in the mail from a car dealership with like some sort of, I don't know, lottery game or something, like a scratch off that you try to reveal a prize.
Those, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I used to get those in the mail.
Yeah, scratchers.
Yeah, yeah. Well, they really engage in this deceptive practice where they will make you think you've won something incredible, and then they get you to come out to the dealership, and then you actually didn't win anything at all, or else what they give you is junk, you know. So I got one of these in the mail, and it was like, I don't know, I've just been getting a million of them lately for some reason. So I was like, I'm gonna put together a little expose and try and catch them in the act of false advertising. And so I did last week. Went to the dealership. You can watch all the events unfold, but I've caught them, and I've got it on film, and I'm calling it Shimmergate because it has to do with a diamond ring that I was supposed to win, and I just posted the first video last night, so it's kind of fun, just something different that we've done. So we're branching out. Not only are we doing synth pop and pop culture news, but now we're also branching out into consumer advocacy. So please look forward to checking out Shimmergate on our channel.
Now, I have 2 questions for you. One, does your band tour?
Not really at this time, like in this configuration. I've done touring before in other bands I've been in, but right now as SuperDivorce, no, we play locally here and there, but we'd like to at some point. We're not there yet.
Well, you guys should come down to Arizona in about 9 months, because I'll be back there, and I'll go see you guys.
Well, if you can help us pack some venue, and we'll make the trip.
Yeah, I can. There's one venue you should go to. It's called Congress, Hotel Congress. They have a smaller venue, fits about 100 people, you know, so if you guys aren't just wanting a smaller crowd, but just to get your names known.
Yeah.
Hotel Congress in Tucson, Arizona. That's where you want to start at.
Well, I'll remember that for, I mean, I'd obviously have to be part of a larger trip because from Ohio to Arizona.
It's pretty far.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to.
Yeah, Open-Minded Movie Man. I was gonna say a guy in the chat says, "What kind of music do you play?" I think he wasn't here at the beginning.
Okay.
It's open-minded. Open-minded.
Yeah, open-minded. We play kind of like 80s inspired synth pop, new wave. So if you are into bands like Tears for Fears, Depeche Mode, Talking Heads,
like avant-garde kind of thing.
You know, like 80s alternative, like stuff you would have heard on like the Breakfast Club soundtrack, you know, that kind of thing. Gary Newman, stuff in that realm. That's kind of the style that we're in. Okay. We're always like that. We started out with more of like yelling, screaming vocals and very hectic, energetic performance when we played live, and we were a 4-piece, but now we're just 2-piece, and it's pretty much all electronic.
Oh, okay. And I was actually looking up your name on YouTube because I knew I was going to be talking to you, and I couldn't find your channel for some reason. What is the actual name of your channel?
It should come up if you just go to youtube.com/SuperDivorce.
It'll be easier too. His link's in the chat, or it's in the description.
Is it one? Is there a space, or is it one word?
Just one word. SuperDivorce.
Oh, okay.
His link's in the description of this video too. So
yeah, I'll look it up after we're done. But okay, cool. Because I was having trouble finding you guys because I wanted to check out like what you guys discussed and what your channel was really about before I got into a chat with you and started talking about stuff. So I was kind of like, you know, on your same wavelength.
Okay, yeah, you can check out all of our stuff there. And then if you want to look up our music, we're on Spotify and iTunes, Apple Music, Amazon, all that stuff. So, yeah.
All right. Cool. That's good. Mr. Pete, anything you want to close out on?
Well, what should I close out on? Yeah, I made that quick, silly little video. It's somebody put. I didn't have anything to do with this, but somebody brought in where I work. Somebody brought in a huge flatbed truck, and they had a little like Tonka toy truck strapped down to it. It's pretty funny if you watch it, because you see this big, huge truck, and then right behind it's a little Tonka toy truck.
Mr. P, when I first heard you, you were throwing me off. You're like you sound like Cecil. I don't know if you.
I'm glad that I wasn't the only one thinking that.
Throwing me off. I was like, oh, cool, Cecil.
Which I might get him on here at some point. Actually, I have somebody that knows him, and he seems like a willing guy that might pop in at least for a few minutes. So maybe in the future.
Is the best internet troll of all.
You know what is his original? It was called Cecil is D. Period I period C period.
Dick in comics. Cecil is Dick in comics. Yeah, I love that.
It stands for like dependability, like intellectualism, caring,
diversity, inclusion,
compassion, and kindness.
Yeah, diversity, inclusion, passion, and kindness. Cecil is Dick in comics. Yeah, I remember when it was still that.
Yeah. He's a funny guy. Yeah, I'm trying to I try to be like him in like some of my videos. I do these little quirks and stuff like that. I always try to put a little bit of humor in something. And to give you an example where a little bit of humor really works, I don't know if you all saw that recent movie, Happy Death Day. But
nope,
I did not.
To me, that was one of the best recent slasher films. Because it had a little bit of comedy in it, and they used it just right. The sequel's coming out soon. Happy Death Day to You. It's coming out next
It actually looks kind of fun.
Yeah, you got to see the original first, because the sequel is going to take place like the next day after. So you have to see the first. Unfortunately, it's one of those movies where you have to see the first one.
It's like the Saw movies. You have to see the first one to kind of get the whole picture.
The Saw movies are so. I mean, I was a big fan of the Saw movies when they came out, but then it was like they just kept adding and adding. You know, like Jigsaw is dead, but like here he is in a flashback, and like
this is something else he did. Yeah.
Even though those movies took place, it was released like 7 years straight. It all happened within like 2 years, and that's another confusing thing. So, yeah.
I gotcha. And Darth Tika, what about you? Anything you want to close out on?
Well, I am not a YouTuber, so there's nothing to subscribe to from me. But I would just say, don't buy into any of that Disney Star Wars crap. That's why all their toys are 3 cents. And, just as all of us who are in this chat, probably we're all a part of the Phantom Menace. Just we gotta stay strong. When Episode 9 comes out, we have to critique it properly. We can't just shit on it to shit on it. We gotta, take it as it is. And then decide as fans where Star Wars goes from there. Because, I'm assuming most of us have grown up with Star Wars and love it for what it is, prequels, OT, even if you like some of the sequel movies, that's your opinion and what you love. But we gotta make Disney appreciate it and make them want to do better to get our money, not just give it to them.
Yep,
right.
Well said, man. Yeah, go ahead. Somebody is responding.
No, I agree.
That's it. Yep, well said, man. And Angus, last one.
Yeah, I'll just say I'm actually one of my favorite historical characters that is so misunderstood and so underappreciated is Vlad the Impaler, the guy credited for creating the modern Dracula myth, based on his quote unquote misgivings. But reading one of the few biographies about him, it seems that Western civilization has him to thank for keeping the Ottomans at bay in their own turf, essentially. And so realizing I have a YouTube channel, I'm like, oh my god, I should do a video. I should reread the biography and like cover my love of Vlad the Impaler and the appreciation I have for him, and maybe get be a part of the change of view about him because so little is actually known about him. So I'm kind of excited to someday. It's not going to be soon, but I was just excited to think about this today, and that's something to look forward to for my channel. Is not just oh yeah, I do movie reviews or think pieces about movies. I try to learn stuff and share stuff with people. So swing on by if you like stuff like that, along with your movie reviews and philosophy and NFL coverage.
Yeah, good boy. Nice. Film, philosophy, and fun. Big time. All right. Well, I think that's about it for tonight, guys. Thanks for coming by. This was pretty fun.
Let's do this again.
Hey, Rookie, can I plug one more thing? If anybody's listening that's not subscribed to any of these guys' YouTube channels, please do it. Because Mr. Pete channel and SuperDivorce, I'm gonna check out your guys' channels. I'm not subscribed yet, but I'm definitely gonna subscribe because I enjoy talking to you guys, and I'm very interested to see what you guys are saying on your channels. So make sure everybody that's listening subscribe to these guys' channels and support them.
Yeah, I'll do the same.
Yeah. One quick thing. As soon as I reach 600, I'm going to do another giveaway. So subscribe, everybody.
Build up
Angus,
those numbers.
Angus, you mentioned philosophy. I'd be intrigued to chat some philosophy with you sometime. So if you're ever interested,
hit me up on Twitter at Angus Reviews. We can DM each other.
Sounds good.
All right. Yep. We're closing out. Thank you for stopping by, everybody in the chat. I think most people have drifted off by now, and Doomcock just went live, so probably gonna lose people to them. So thanks for coming by. And I don't have any more scheduled streams for the rest of the year, but I'll probably have at least 2 or 3 more before it's over. So see you guys then.